to NBA Countdown, presented by Hennessy.
San Francisco, California. It's been nearly 3 years since the Warriors fan base has seen their team clinch a playoff series at home. And tonight, the Warriors will have a chance to do just that. All eyes will be on that man right there, Steph Curry, coming off his lowest scoring performance this decade. How will the greatest shooter ever bounce back with the trip to the second round on the line? We know the Rockets will be ready, but history not on their side. In the nearly 80 years of the NBA, only 13 teams have overcome a 3-1 series deficit. Can Houston be the 14th? We're counting you down right here on ESPN. But to force a Game 7, the Rockets are going to have to get the win as underdogs. Golden State is favored by 5.5 points. They are 3-0 as favorites so far this series. As we welcome you inside our Los Angeles studio, Bob Myers was a part of each of the last 24 playoff series victories here for Golden State. Kendrick Perkins knows a thing or two about winning in the postseason. And Stephen A. Smith, he has never lost an elimination game. But in all seriousness, this is why we love the game, Stephen A. The stakes are the highest. 48 minutes, it can be the difference between a trip to the next round and a hostile environment on the road.
Well, listen, when you saw what happened in the previous series, I mean, if you go to the state of Houston, you know Minnesota's waiting. And the reality is that if you go to state, you want to get things over with, get some rest, get Steph Curry as healthy as you possibly can get, and be ready to roll. You're Houston, you're trying to survive and push this back to your home floor for a Game 7. You're young, you're athletic, you've got defensive prowess, you're exceptionally well coached, you have the personnel for the most part to win this series if dudes show up. And since you were able to push this to a Game 6, you're going on the visiting floor against one of the all-time greats in Steph Curry. And we're going to see how you handle that.
I have some questions. Can Sengun continue to lead them in points, rebounds, assists, and steals? Can Jalen Green, he's shooting 29% on jumpers. Obviously, that's not going to work. Can Fred VanVleet continue the torrid shooting? Dylan Brooks shooting 44% in the series. Can that continue? Also, can the Rockets play big? They're plus 31 when Steven Adams and Sengun are on the court together. Curry's been more contested in this series than in any series under Steve Kerr. 70% of his shots are heavily contested. And can Jimmy Butler be playoff Jimmy? He has career averages in the playoffs on all the major statistics that are much better than the regular season.
Well, the one thing we do know is that the defensive culture that the Rockets have is going to travel, no matter where they playing at. In the Toyota Center, the Chase Center, the YMCA, wherever is going to be there, right? And we saw at home the others made shots. We saw Thompson Twin, what he had, 25. We saw Dylan Brooks have 24. Now, all of a sudden, it's time for the role players, the others of Golden State at home, because we know role players play better at home, to match that energy. We saw in Game 3, Buddy Hield, he came off the bench. He was impactful, double figures. Gary Payton II, he was impactful, double figures. But I'm going to go to it again. Who's going to shut the water off of Fred VanVleet? A champion. Or one that broke up a happy home with Bob Myers. He did. He was on the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah,
he broke up a happy home when they won the championship.
How about Achilles' tear helped?
I mean, we can.
But what I'm saying is he's been hot. He's been averaging 25 over the last 2 games. So when you question the Rockets in their shooting, he's the one guy that's been shooting at a very high level over the past 2 games.
One thing I know is that the stakes don't get higher than this. Let's just take a visit to how we got here, how the Warriors got to this 3-2 series lead. In Game 1, Jimmy Butler, he led the way, 25 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and 5 steals. Golden State stole home court advantage here. Steph Curry, he added 31 points. The Warriors controlled the final moments of the 4th quarter here. But the Rockets, they fought back to tie the series in Game 2 behind Jalen Green, who became the youngest Rockets player with a 35-point playoff game. He finished with 38 in that one. It's also the game that Jimmy Butler left in the 1st quarter with a pelvic contusion. And that kept him out of Game 3 here. But the Warriors, they were still able to take a 2-1 series lead. After Steph Curry, he went off for 36 points. Buddy Hield, Gary Payton II, they combined for 33 points off the bench as well. Game 4, that's the only one that's been decided by single digits in this series. The Warriors won by 3 after Draymond Green held off Alperen Sengun in the final moments, and Jimmy Butler skied in for that rebound. Now, the Rockets are down 3-1 heading into Game 5, but extended the series after winning by 15 points in this one. Kerr, he pulled all his starters halfway through the 3rd quarter, which led to Curry having just 13 points, his fewest in a playoff game since 2019. But something that caught the eye of the NBA world, it wasn't just his abdominal stat line, it's that thumb doesn't look normal normal on his shooting hand. This is a social media post by the Warriors from before the game. Steph, he was asked about that image after the Dubs Game 5 loss.
State of your thumb right now?
Cold.
There was a picture, I don't know if you've seen it online, where it looks pretty swollen. I think it was with you walking to the plane.
You got the feds on me? What are you talking about? I don't even know how to answer it. It's just something you're dealing with and you keep it moving. As long as I can play. You got to rap for a reason, but that's it.
Do you feel it's impacting your game at all?
No. No. Not at all.
It looked like there was maybe just a little bit of hesitation as he said no, not at all here, as we say hello to our senior insider, Shams Charania. Shams, how is Steph Curry fighting through this? What is his status for this game?
Malika, right now, Stephen Curry will play, but what he deals with is irritation at times, and it's really whenever that thumb gets hit. But this is a contact sport. That's a part of it. He knows that. And I spoke to some Warriors sources today, and they told me that Stephen Curry is fine. He's fine enough to play. He's not even on our injury report. And for his part, I'm told Stephen Curry has told people around the Warriors and people around him even this week that, yeah, it hurts, but I'm not talking about this. I'm not here to discuss this. I'm here to just play. I'm just playing on this. I'm just playing through it, and that's his mentality. He's just going to continue to play on. I do expect him to get that re-examined after the season, but right now, Stephen Curry, he's not using that as an excuse. He doesn't even want to talk about it.
Right. You can kind of hear him saying that, you know what, no, it's not bothering me at all. And we know that in these moments, Steph Curry, he's going to lock in no matter what bumps and bruises he's dealing with. Shams, thank you so very much. We're going to see you a little bit later in the show. But one person who's well aware of what Steph is working through is Dillon Brooks. The Warriors home broadcast pointed out this sequence from Game 3 where Brooks, he took multiple swipes at Curry's shooting hand. You can see it right here. And Steve Kerr and Brooks, they both weighed in on whether or not that's fair game.
Players all over the league are just taking shots at guys' shooting hands after release because they know it's not going to be a foul. And I'm very confident that next year the league will fix it because it's only a matter of time before somebody, breaks a thumb or breaks a hand or whatever. But these are the rules.
If you're gonna come play the game injured or whenever you got, it's all about the game. If I had an injured ankle, I would attack that ankle every single time. So, whatever they're saying on the broadcast, they can keep saying it.
I mean, should we just call this a good old-fashioned thumb war here, Perk?
Yeah, and guess what? Dillon Brooks is right. I mean, look, everything is in play when you're in the postseason. When you're trying to win, you're trying to advance. Damn right, he should be swiping at that thumb of Steph Curry. I would. Like, yeah, and just to play mind games, even if you don't hit it, you still got to be swiping at it. And then again, look, I don't want to hear that from Steve Kerr. Now, all of a sudden, the league needs to investigate and look into it. You have a player, Draymond Green, that didn't choke people out and did way worse things. Like, get out of here with all that nonsense. I'm with Dillon Brooks on this. Damn it, if you out there and you're wounded, if I'm a defender, I'm going to attack those wounds. I'm going to do everything in the world to walk out of there with a win.
Well, Steph says he's fine, and I thought Danny Green on NBA Today the other day, Stephen A., kind of pointed out that when you're shooting, it's more your index and middle finger that is going to make contact with the ball. But when you're dribbling, when defenders are swiping at you, and you see the proofs in the pudding, just 15 points in his last 2 games, less than 30% shooting from deep.
29% from three-point range. But here's the deal. That's competition. Dillon Brooks is absolutely right. I'm competing. I'm trying to beat you. It's almost like somebody's sick and you're sick, you got the flu and you can't run. What are you going to do? You're going to try to make them run. You want them to throw up. You want them to get sick. You want them to have to leave the game. You want to exploit and take advantage of any kind of weakness they present to you. If somebody shows up on a basketball court, I've seen shooters showing up on a basketball court with a knee problem. And somebody, instead of jumping up to try to block their shot, they act like they're diving at their knee. They don't do it, but they act that way because they want you to flinch. They want you to because they know that you're sensitive. You have a deficiency that they want to exploit. It's about finding your weakness and then squeezing. That's how you win a lot of times. And anytime you're competing against somebody, that's what they're going to do to you. So for this to be a subject matter is utterly ridiculous.
I mean, how do you think Steph's going to adjust? Because ultimately, right, that's what it comes down to.
Steph will adjust. Listen, Steph is Steph. He is the greatest shooter God has ever created. And he's ultra talented. He'll figure out a way to do it. But even if he doesn't, tough. That's how it goes. It's competition.
One of the reasons I love Steph so much is he's not making an excuse for it. You know how many NBA players would be up there without ice, putting their thumb for everybody to see.
Yeah.
He's not making any.
Talk about one of the greatest players ever lived. That would definitely.
Well,
that would
look,
go ahead.
Curry, I loved his response. He said it's not bothering me. As far as what Brooks is doing, that's gamesmanship, whatever. If somebody says, any player, that you're trying to hurt somebody, that's where I draw. And I don't think he's saying that. I don't think he's saying that. But if it crosses the line of I'm trying to hurt someone, I have a problem with that. Now, I'm not saying Brooks is saying that, though.
Well, Bob, I've been saying this all week long, right? We know that Steph is injured, has a swollen thumb, right? If you're Steve Kerr, and Dan, like you said, Malika, Danny said it can affect your dribbling. You're being guarded by Thompson, right, who's picking you up 94 feet.
Had a heck of a game 5.
How about taking Steph off the basketball? Because trying to run high pick and rolls, it don't work against Şengün and Steven Adams, because both of those guys are really, really good at trapping the pick and roll. So get Steph easier looks, more catch and shoot, and less off the dribble shoot, in my opinion. And that's how you kind of,
Yeah, look at those stats on the screen, right? First 3 games, 45% from 3, 29% in the last 2. Did something happen after game 3? I don't think so. Maybe he just had a couple off nights. I don't know if that was his thumb or not. So to me, Curry is, you know what? Here's the thing. No one cares, right? We got to talk about it. I get it. But if the Warriors don't win, or Steph plays great or bad, or if you win or lose and you say, well, my thumb, no one cares. All they're going to care about is who won the series and who wins this game tonight.
And then you got to think about this, right? Going back to Dylan Brooks' point. What did we see in the Lakers game when Luka went out with his back injury? When he returned, they were already searching him out, but he went to another level. Like, no one cares.
Right.
No one cares. They're going to find you, but this is a moment for Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler, the one forced his way out of Miami. Pat Riley had some help in it, but he wanted to go to a championship team and compete. He's the one that has uplifted this squad as a bona fide second option.
I don't think there's any reason. I don't think there's any reason to question Jimmy Butler, though. He got hurt, came back, had 27, 14 in the fourth quarter, and then they just lost his game 5. They just didn't show up to play collectively, and they threw in the towel. They was ready to close this out in game 6. That's how they played in game 5.
Listen, big bro. I'm not saying. What I'm saying is, if Steph is dealing with this thumb injury, and Bob just pointed out his shooting percentages, this is the moment that Jimmy Butler needs to play.
You know what I love about this game? We're going to find out. We're going to find out, right? We're going to find out all this stuff.
And
I love it.
keeping an eye on his thumb is something all of us should do as well. Hey, coming up here on NBA Countdown, today it became the official end of an era. San Antonio announced that Greg Popovich will no longer be the head coach of the San Antonio Spurs. The impact of an all-time great, that's next on NBA Countdown.
NBA Countdown is presented by Hennessy. Made for more. 21 plus only. Please drink responsibly.
About it. That's it, right there.
The Gilgosaurus.
Oh my God. Whoa! Don't see that every day. Not ever.
Duncan!
Run.
Massive news out of the NBA this morning. Basketball Hall of Famer Greg Popovich will no longer coach the San Antonio Spurs and is transitioning to a full-time role as the team's president of basketball operations. That's what the team announced. Now, Popovich suffered a mild stroke November 2nd. He did not return to the sidelines this season. And he released a statement today saying, quote, "While my love and passion for the game remain, I've decided it's time to step away as head coach. I am forever grateful to the wonderful players, coaches, staff, and fans who allowed me to serve them as the Spurs head coach, and I'm excited for the opportunity to continue to support the organization, the community, the city that are so meaningful to me." So for more on this news out of San Antonio, let's bring back Shams. Shams, what led to Pop's decision to step down at this time?
Malik, as much as Greg Popovich pushed and wanted to return as an NBA head coach, I'm told he came to the conclusion that it would be too taxing of a grind to get back on the sidelines, particularly after that stroke that he had in November. And on a human level, he is recovering. He is doing much better. But the stress, the burden, the tension day to day that goes into NBA head coaching, it was just too much for him to come back to. So he made the decision this week, informed all of his players, past and present, that he is stepping down from a 29-year run, 5 championships, all-time winningest coach, 22 straight playoff years in San Antonio. So an end of an era, but it is a start of another. I'm told he's been present already this week in the Spurs facility. He's been going in there, meeting with staffers, meeting with Mitch Johnson, and he's going to continue to be a big part of that organization on a day-to-day basis operationally. But this is a massive change for the NBA. No Greg Popovich on the sidelines ever again.
The end of an era, certainly my time covering the NBA, my time as an NBA fan, it has all been dotted with Greg Popovich on the sidelines, and now he's transitioning to the front office. Shams, thank you so very much for that. The wins, the championships, the gold medal, the accolades. I certainly think about hiring Becky Hammon and stepping out on a limb in a time where we did not see women as coaches in the NBA, rather. But Stephen A., when it comes to Pop's impact, what do you remember most?
Hey, listen, I tell you this, and I affectionately say this. I call him a big phony, and I laugh about it because he comes across as having this truculent, acerbic type of attitude. He's one of the classiest, most conscientious, most decent human being I've ever known. He's an incredible coach. And back in the day, to show my age a little bit, once upon a time, I actually sat down and I had lunch with Popovich one-on-one in Utah, just hanging out because we was in the same hotel. And, you know, he was schooling me about the NBA and about what it takes to really succeed in the NBA, but not just as a player, but as a coach and as a young man. And you remember all of those things as you grow up, and some of the times you make the mistakes, but the reason you know it's a mistake is because of the words of wisdom people like him imparted upon you. And I knew that covering Larry Brown for the Philadelphia 76ers, being a beat writer for the Philadelphia Inquirer, Larry Brown loved this man. Popovich was a protege of Larry Brown's, and I remember when Popovich won his first ring.
Yeah.
And the season opener the following season was the 76ers against the San Antonio Spurs. And Popovich walked over to Larry Brown, a mentor of his, and sat down and shared the ring with him because Larry Brown had yet to win at that particular moment in time. And that was what inspired Larry Brown to depart from Philadelphia, ultimately end up in Detroit and capturing his first ring because he was Mr. Fix-It, but he had a ring on the NBA level. But once he saw Popovich do that and Popovich talk to him and what have you, you knew what was going on. It was tremendous. It really was. Popovich is a great one.
Yeah. I think the best coaches are the best teachers. And I think just listening to people that were in that organization, that are in that organization, that play for him now, that played for him in the past, he left a mark. Not just in basketball for all he did. And he clearly one of the best, if not the best coaches, one of the best coaches ever to coach. But he left a mark as a person. Talking to people there, he would talk to them about stuff outside of basketball. I asked Steve Kerr one time if I could meet Pop while I was working with the Warriors in my early days. And he set it up, and I remember going to have, I think, a drink with him. And the truth is, I was scared. I was scared.
Yeah.
Not he wasn't going to do anything to me, but I was scared. I'm usually not scared going into a meeting with somebody. And I asked him, I said, how do you balance your family with the magnitude of these jobs? And he said, what do you mean? I said, I'm struggling. He said, your family's always way more important than all this stuff. And I knew that, and I believe that. But to hear someone as accomplished as him, we don't say that as much in this industry as maybe we should because everyone makes this the biggest thing and the most important thing. But it was a great reminder for me that is the most important thing.
Well, my story with Pop actually happened when I was 18 years old. Sam Preston used to drive down to Old Beaumont, Texas, when he was a scout for the San Antonio Spurs and watch me in high school. And during my draft workouts, I had to go to San Antonio, right? And so when I got there, Pop was in there, and he said, hello, you ready to work? I said, yeah, I'm ready to work. And he said, well, one, go to the weight room. So first thing that they did was body fat, right? I didn't pass the test. So my entire workout changed and was straight conditioning. And I remember Pop said, I'll see you in about a month for your second workout because the plan, Bob, you know, they had the late first round pick at the time and they was going to pick me. But that woke me up. And the next time that I worked out in front of Greg Popovich, you know, I got a guarantee from the San Antonio Spurs. So he's always been that truth teller.
Right, because he's someone who demands excellence as well.
Just forgive my curiosity. Would you mind informing us of what
Don't
the body
do that.
fat?
Don't do that. That's over the line.
Could you inform us about what the body fat was when you came back a month later?
You don't have to answer.
Yeah.
Well, you can do that.
I didn't ask what it was originally.
I'll tell you, I'm not ashamed. You know what I mean? I'm comfortable being.
Could you answer the question?
Yeah, I was at 26%. And when I came back, I was at 15%.
See, it's because a Greg Popovich demands excellence. And it's not just of players, it's of reporters as well. He is someone who, whenever I was interviewing him, is someone where you have to be that much more prepared when you go into an interview with Greg Popovich. That was a good question. Doesn't sound as good coming from anyone else because you know when Greg Popovich says it, he means it. Because typically, his interviews go a little something like this.
No.
Energy level's great. Worst shots in the history of basketball.
NASA discovered all those habitable planets the other day. You guys know about that? 1,200 habitable planets.
What's 1,200 new?
And then last night, somebody lost a basketball game. Get over yourself.
He's LeBron James. That's what makes him difficult to guard.
How do you feel he's performed in the first quarter?
He's done well.
All right, I feel like I've come out ahead here. Do you want to just end it on this one?
No, I was looking forward to a second question. Who's the one guy who asked the third question, isn't it? Did you just get two? My bad. Next guy that misses a free throw, gonna buy me a new car. This is the preseason, right? We got to do this in the preseason? Are you kidding me?
Part of the
in the preseason, we got to do this?
What was your biggest challenge during this preseason?
Oh my gosh, getting to the restaurant on time.
How happy were you with the shot selection, even though they came back?
Happy? Happy. I don't know how to judge happy. In the middle of the contest, nobody's happy.
Your thoughts on the third quarter?
We're behind.
What did you like about the way your team played?
The ball went in the hole.
How would you describe tonight's win?
I don't know how you describe a win. It's better than a loss.
They said explore your feelings at the end of the third quarter. So are you? Oh.
Thank you, Pop. Appreciate it.
It's been fun.
Yeah, no doubt. Same here.
Hi, Pop. Thank you.
It's been a joy.
A joy, always. And he certainly has a historic resume in his head coaching career here. He's on top in terms of his wins. He has the most career victories by any head coach in NBA history. It's unquantifiable, but I would say also one of the most entertaining in-game interviews of all time. The thumb looking all right in warm-ups, nailing those half-court shots.
That's not
Very
a half-court shot.
That's almost.
Might need to change.
Almost.
From the logo, how's that?
Close enough.
We'll be right back.
Deep.
To San Francisco.
We're fine. Our confidence isn't going to waver any.
You wanted the talking, I'm talking it out.
It's all well and great to talk about. You have to go do something about it. We have an opportunity to write our own story and how we bounce back.
Welcome back to NBA Countdown, presented by Hennessy.
It's been 733 days since the Warriors last clinched a series. That's their second longest drought under Steve Kerr. But Golden State, they are on the brink of finishing off the Rockets, Kendrick Perkins. And if they're going to do so, it might come down to what version of Steph Curry the Golden State Warriors get here. He's averaging over 10 points more in wins than he is in losses this series. So what are you looking at here? How has he been limited at times, and how can he take advantage
Well,
of it?
the one thing we do know is that the Rockets have a defensive identity, right? And it starts at the wing position, the athleticism, the size. This kid right here, the Thompson twin, 6'7", 200 pounds, but one of the most versatile defenders in the league. Picks Steph Curry up at the half-court line, picks his pocket, throws it down for the slam. Here's another thing. When you talk about how versatile he is, load to touch is what they call it. Look, he sees his man, but his eyes are on Steph. Gets the big block right here on the help side defense. Now, if they want to do something different, I'm going to talk to them and let you know the answer after this.
I mean, it's just that he's never been quite contested like this, as you can see.
Yeah.
So if they need to make a change, what is that?
Okay, here go the answer right here. Here goes the answer. Take Steph off the ball. He's great, the best in the game. What, Malika? Moving without the basketball. Look at all this action right here. The screen setting, the cutting, right? Great screen by Jimmy Butler. Great cut by Steph, great pass, easy buckets is what's going to help Steph out. And I think they need to do more of it. We saw a lot of it in Game 3 in the second half, but they got to do more of it tonight for Steph to be successful.
Absolutely, because when you look at this, that's why off-ball screen actions are so important, because when he has the ball in his hands, he's blitzed more than any other player in the postseason.
And Steven Adams and Şengün, they're so great at moving their feet and trapping the pick and roll. So you're absolutely right.
So those are the keys to the game. If Steph and the Warriors get past Houston tonight, though, Perk, the road, it does not get any easier with Kingslayer Anthony Edwards on the other side. That brings us to Who's Made for More, brought to you by Hennessy. Anthony Edwards has started to stack up some pretty impressive series wins in his young career, defeating several notable stars along the way. First round last year, that's when Edwards and the Timberwolves swept Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns. Of course, Edwards has called KD his idol. He followed that up by taking down the three-time MVP Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets in the 2024 conference semifinals. In the final game of the series, the Timberwolves overcame a 15-point deficit at halftime, the largest halftime comeback in a Game 7 all-time. And then this year, in the first round, he got a huge revenge here against Luka Doncic by eliminating the Lakers in 5. He also sent the NBA's all-time scorer, you know, that guy, LeBron James, home as well. Not too shabby here for a 2-year run. The first round against the Lakers, it marked the 4th time Anthony Edwards averaged at least 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in a series in his career. All other players in Timberwolves history, they've done that twice combined, both by Kevin Garnett. After finishing off the Lakers, LeBron, he had a message for Ant.
Come on now, what's the next step? You already know it. Come on. All right.
So if you couldn't hear that, it was LeBron saying, come on, take the next step. Do you think that he will, Bob?
What does that mean?
And no matter who they face next, whether it's the Golden State Warriors or the Houston Rockets, do you think that they get back to the conference finals?
He can. I mean, he's already done it. You know, I look at this kid, or man, he has it all sitting there for him, Malika. He has the game. He has the charisma. He has the appearance. I mean, if you ask kids who do they want to be, you watch this guy. I want to be. I mean, watch how he
he's
plays
every
basketball.
player's favorite player currently.
Why wouldn't it be? By the way, why wouldn't it be? Tell me what he doesn't do. He shoots the 3. He gets the basket. His defense, we don't talk enough about. When he wants to guard, oh my, he could be an all-NBA defensive player anytime he wants. They put him on the best player. He was guarding Luka. He was guarding LeBron. So the question is with Malika, it's not often you can look at a player and say there is no ceiling. There is no ceiling for this guy. And I say that as far as his own game and where he takes his team. And he's got that charisma, too. You saw his press conference afterwards. He was talking about Gobert as a dragon. You just want to watch him play, and you also want to hear what he has to say. And that combination is powerful.
Absolutely. He's box office. Make no mistake about it. And he has shown signs of being Jordan-esque, dare I say. But to be clear, for clarity purposes, the next level is a trip to the finals. Because you were in the conference, you were in the finals last year. You were in the conference finals last year. You ain't getting back to the conference finals. The next step is getting to the finals. He's going in he's had 4 playoff series. He's going against KD and Booker. He's going against Jokic and Murray. He's going against Kyrie and Luka. And now he went against LeBron and Luka. And he's won 3 of those 4 series. And last but not least, he's one of 6 players in NBA history over his first 32 postseason games to average 27, 5, and 5.
Yeah.
The other 5 was Jordan, Oscar Robertson, LeBron James, Tracy McGrady, and Luka Doncic. This brother is special. Make no mistake about it. But if you're going home early, people ain't going to notice it as much as they will if you don't go home early.
Well, he said that he wants the Golden State Warriors in this next round just because he says he likes to talk. Well, he said he likes to talk trash with Draymond Green. That's one of the reasons he gave.
He should want Golden State because they'll smack them in the 7-game series due to them being injured. But let me say this. When LeBron told him to take the next step, yes, part of it was talking about advancing in this postseason and in between the lines because he has taken that next step. The next step is being able to get yours and make others around you better.
Yeah, didn't he kind of start to show that in this first round series?
He ain't try to show. He showed it. Look, this is him earlier in the season right here, right? Look how he's getting trapped, didn't pass the ball. Look at his body language. This is him in the Lakers series, right? Willing, passing the ball with great energy. I'm looking to find you, Naz Reid. Knock down the shot. Look at the celebration afterwards. So he has shown us growth. And shout out to Minnesota Timberwolves coach Finch, because at the start of the season, he put the ball in Anthony Edwards' hands. He said, you be the decision maker. So when LeBron said take that next step, that also went outside of basketball. Yeah. He said, say, bro, you got that it factor, right? You're knocking off the Giants.
Take it.
KD, Jokic, me. Like, you're not Luka. Like, go embrace it. Why not be the face of the league, right? Clean up some of the areas that you can clean up outside of the lines. That's what LeBron James was telling them, because just like everybody else, LeBron knows and he sees it.
Yeah, and the hardest step for a young player is to learn how to lead. He has to learn, and he's learning that, but he's not there. He's not there.
He's close, Bob.
He's close. Leading requires being uncomfortable. It requires leading on the floor and off the floor, too.
Yeah.
You have to lead at practice. You have to lead on the plane. You have to lead off the floor, and you have to hold your teammates accountable. I don't know. I'm not in that organization. But you're right. He's getting there. I question, is he there? That's the next thing.
The question is he wants it?
Sure.
Wants it. Like he wants to be a leader on the court. You got to want to be a leader, period.
Let me ask y'all a question. Have we seen Julius Randle play better basketball in the postseason?
No, we have not.
I got to give a lot of credit to Anthony Edwards. He gives you that life and confidence. He give me life talking about him on the damn television.
And now he's going to look to lead the Timberwolves to their first finals appearance in franchise history. Speaking of leadership, I mean, the voice of the Golden State Warriors has been that guy, Draymond Green, and certainly...
You better bring it tonight.
It's going to be him and Şengün that we're going to be watching.
Jokic waiting on you, boy.
They're not going to sit there. Like, what do you want? I'm going to play 28 minutes? Are you kidding me? I want to play 39. But I don't have that problem because of you guys.
The San Antonio Spurs are your world champions.
I tried to think of a word that would describe what this might feel like, and it feels even shush.
1,336 regular season victories.
I have absolutely no clue what you're getting at or what your question means, so I'll just pass on it.
Earlier this morning, the Spurs announced that five-time champion Greg Popovich will no longer coach the team, instead transitioning to a full-time role as the team's president of basketball operations. Victor Wembanyama, he posted this on social media. 29 years, Coach, thank you for your wisdom, your leadership, for the culture you created, but most importantly for being a great and inspiring person. It was an honor to be a part of those 29 years, wishing you all of the best in your next chapter. But the thing is, Greg Popovich's legacy, it'll go on far beyond just those 29 years. From those 1,422 regular season victories, 5 NBA championships, 3 Coach of the Year awards. And tonight's matchup really embodies the reach of Popovich, because Warriors coach Steve Kerr and Rockets coach Ime Udoka, they both played for Pop in San Antonio. They both coached under the Hall of Famer as well. Ime with the Spurs, Kerr with Team USA, before eventually taking over the reins for the red, white, and blue. And they both coached against him as well, sharing the sidelines with the man who coached them inside the lines. Before Kerr and Udoka took to their respective benches in tonight's game, which is their biggest of their respective seasons, they took a little bit of time to pay their respects and to reflect on Coach Pop.
Pop is one of the most important people in my life for many, many reasons. Most of them go way beyond basketball. But it's a sad day. It's also an encouraging day, I think, because I think this is a natural transition for him organizationally to move into his next role.
Be up here all night if I told all the stories and all the impact, but obviously as a professional, I played 2.5 years for him, coached 7, so spent 10 years of my life, and but that's probably the least important. It's the person aspect that you talked about, and the daily messages, the lessons that we all learn and think back on, and it's a bittersweet day, obviously, for all of us, but happy he's in a good place, and happy he's good with his family. And so, just a special day, special person, obviously one of the best to do it, or the best to do it, and glad I got a chance to work with him, learn from him, and call him a friend.
I've got a lot of mixed emotions today, mainly just my love for Pop, my empathy for him, for what he's gone through, for the Spurs organization, all of the above. And it's a very, very emotional day for everybody involved. So thank you, Pop. I'll take the shirt off after, and love you, and we'll see you soon.
Those are just two members of a very large coaching tree for Popovich here. You can see Doc Rivers, Mitch Johnson, now the head coach for the Spurs, Mike Budenholzer, Becky Hammon, and many others. Becky, of course, now a head coach in the W. And speaking of, our first WNBA preseason game, it features Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. They take on the Brazilian national team Sunday afternoon at Carver Hawkeye Arena in Iowa at 4 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. Coverage begins with WNBA Countdown. I can't wait to be with the crew. That's at 3 o'clock. Now let's pivot to my favorite story of the day. Hey, before we bounce, today we got a birthday shout out. It is Sarah Lang's birthday. Sarah, of course, was one of our fabulous researchers here at ESPN and just so happens to also be the girlfriend of our fantastic NBA researcher, one of one, Matt Williams. Sarah has ALS, also referred to as Lou Gehrig's disease, and in honor of ALS month as well, we just wanted to make sure to give her a special shout out here on NBA Countdown from our entire NBA crew. Sarah, happy birthday. We love you very much. And Matt Williams.
Happy birthday, Sarah.
Happy belated, because it was Matt's birthday yesterday.
Oh, nice.
The Houston Rockets looking to make their comeback here and pushing Game 7.
Furniture.
Steady Freddie will need to be a big part of that.
On their television.
The Rockets are looking to make a 3-1 series comeback for the third time in franchise history, and Jalen Green would be a huge catalyst in achieving that. In Game 2, he had 38 points, but in the rest of the 4 games combined, he has only put up 35. So, Perk, what do the Rockets need to do to stave off elimination here and force a Game 7?
Well, one, they need to come out swinging.
Get up early.
Right? No, well, I wouldn't say just get up early, but throw the first punch and don't let the crowd get into it.
Yeah.
Right? And I think continue to hang your hat on the defensive side of things and let the chips fall where they may offensively. You just want to be able to give yourself a shot, and in at the beginning of the fourth quarter, you want it to be a 5-point type game. You know what I mean? A possession by possession game. That's all.
That's a great overview. For me, it just comes down to Jalen Green. That's what I want to see if I'm the Houston Rockets. I have all the faith in the world that Van Vliet is going to be who he is, that Dylan Brooks is going to be who he is, that Şengün is going to be who he is. What you going to do, Jalen Green? 35 points in 4 games? You're the face of friendship. They're talking about possibly, making moves this offseason and acquiring somebody else. What you gonna do about it? You want to be in H-Town? Show up.
Is that just about continuing to take the shot and hope they fall, or is there something that the Rockets need to change to make it a little bit easier here for Jalen?
It's always something that the coach could do to try to make it easier, but at the end of the day, when you come into the series saying that you were a little bit tight, well, you didn't say that after you scored a 38. So you scored 38 when Jimmy Butler goes down, and then suddenly Jimmy Butler gets back in, and you forget how to play offensively. Nah, that's unacceptable. Yeah. Handle your business.
And even, look, at this point, we're just asking Jalen Green to have 2 good games.
Yes.
He's had 1.
Yes.
We're not asking for 6. So if you're Houston, yes, that would be great. Jalen Green having a 30-point night would probably be the difference in the game. But what has worked for them is Steven Adams and Şengün together.
Yes.
Can they play that way? Steve Kerr did something interesting. He fouled. He Steven Adams,
which is an all-time line from our
but it worked.
Colleague.
It worked. They got him out of the game. So what's the chess match like there? And then secondly, you talked about getting Curry off the ball. I like the Warriors putting the ball in Jimmy Butler's hands as much as possible because, one, he doesn't turn the ball over, and he's a great isolation player, and he's a great passer. And Curry can run around, and they can chase him all over the place and occupy everybody else. Jimmy Butler can score by himself, or he can orchestrate for Curry. So I think I look at those few things.
What did we see T. Lue do last night? He made an adjustment. The adjustment was he put Nicholas Batum in the starting lineup, and it made a huge difference. What adjustment is Steve Kerr going to make today towards the Houston Rockets?
Well, the Warriors, they're going to change their starting lineup as well here. Steph Curry
looks great.
Getting some shots up, but Gary Payton II entering the lineup here.
My warm-up never looked like that when I played.
You can't see Bob's face, but I think he likes that enough.
Whatever.
NBA Countdown is presented by Hennessy. Made for more. 21 plus only.
I don't like Dylan Brooks.
Left wrist on some, I had to stunt. Right wrist, I just did it because Draymond Green wanted all
build on this one and go out there, game 6, and handle business.
I'm heartless. Cause is hating on me just because I'm the biggest, the largest, the biggest, the largest.
Welcome back to NBA Countdown, presented by Hennessy.
Park, they say that closeout games, they're the hardest ones to win. The Golden State Warriors hosting the Houston Rockets here. This is going to be a tough environment for this young Rocket squad. Can they push this series to 7? Let's make some picks. It's time now for Pick and Roll, brought to you by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Get a taste of victory before the buzzer sounds with the ESPN Bets Early Victory promo. If the team you bet on goes up by 20 or more points at any point in the game with your bet, it'll get paid out early. Available throughout the playoffs at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Download the app today. Game 6 in the Bay. Going to get hyphy. Stephen A., who you got?
Golden State, the greatest shooter God has ever created, will explode tonight. I do not see Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry wanting to fly back to Houston for a Game 7. They are experienced. They know what's required, and I think they're going to get it done.
That's Brick's pick.
Yeah. Okay, that caught me off guard a little bit, Malika. I'm going. Oh my goodness gracious. I'm going the Warriors for 3 reasons. I think they got 3 closers. They got that guy. We don't have to continue on that. We know who he is. Jimmy Butler. They call him Playoff Jimmy for a reason. And Draymond Green. And Draymond Green is a closer on the defensive side of the ball, and we saw that in Game 4. He shut down that shot. He made Şengün take a tough shot. So they got 3 guys. Who's going to counter that for your Rockets, your Houston Rockets? Because I know where you're going to go.
Well, actually, not my Rockets, because I picked Golden State to win.
Oh, you did?
Already, and I'm picking them to win this game.
Oh, my goodness.
The role players will play better at home. I'm looking for Buddy Hield, Podziemski, Gary Payton II to have a serious impact on this game tonight. They will win this game, but it will be close.
It's never
Glad
good
you
when we all
mentioned
pick
Hield and
the same.
Podziemski. They deserve a lot of credit. Hield and Podziemski. They've had some great moments this season.
Podziemski coming off the bench in this game as Gary Payton II being inserted into the starting lineup. Steve Kerr always tinkers just a little bit. Should I change my pick? I went with the Golden State Warriors
No,
too.
this is not. Yeah.
But
this is never good.
It's never good when we all pick the same
Never
team.
good.
The intro music, that was a big extra plug. You want to go to the concert with?
All right, this is an A+ game. That means we got our team on
Big
it.
extra plug.
Mike Breen, take it away.
Thank you, Malika. A great day in the Bay Area. A great day for sailing. The weather is nice. And a great day for the NBA playoffs to continue. Chase Center's going to be loud and packed tonight, hoping for a celebration of a series-clinching victory while the Rockets look to send the series to a Game 7. As we welcome you to NBA Courtside, sponsored by Pronamo. The Western Conference playoffs. Denver and the LA Clippers still have a Game 7 to play, while Oklahoma City and Minnesota await their next opponent. And good evening, everyone. Along with Richard Jefferson and Doris Burke, Mike Green on hand, Lisa Salters with us as well. This is desperation night. One team desperate to keep their season alive, the other desperate not to have to go back to Houston for a Game 7. All right, Richard, let's start with Golden State. There's no secret to their success. Everybody knows it. Last 3 months since the trade, Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry are a match made in heaven.
They are a match made in heaven, and we can look at their scoring numbers, their scoring averages, what it's been in the series, but at the end of the day, this is an elimination game. The Warriors' 2 best players have played in 8 NBA Finals. They've won a combined 35 playoff series. So when you look at this Warriors team, they are a team that knows how to close off a series, and that's the task in front of Houston.
Meanwhile, the Warriors also have the most analyzed thumb in the country right now. With more on that, let's say hello to Lisa Salters. Hey, Lisa.
Hey, Mike. Well, Steph Curry's right thumb has generated a lot of headlines in this series. He initially sprained it back in January and then re-aggravated it towards the end of the regular season. He's been playing in this series with that thumb heavily wrapped, but a picture of Curry getting off the team plane a couple days ago went viral because it showed just how swollen the thumb is. The Rockets have been accused of intentionally going after the injury, of swiping down in closeouts to try to hit that thumb. Curry has said it hasn't affected his game, but he said he would like to see more fouls called on intentional contact. Dylan Brooks' response when I asked him about it this morning was, quote, if he's complaining about contact, he should play tennis. Mike?
Just another verbal shot in the NBA postseason. All right, for Houston, one of the younger teams. So for many of these players, Doris, this is the biggest game of their careers. That includes Alperen Sengun, who has been marvelous and seems like he's ready for this moment.
Just 22 years old, playing in just his 6th game. And oh, by the way, maybe one of the best defensive players in league history, Draymond Green, is checking him nightly, and they count on him for so much. Scoring, rebounding. He's the hub offensively as a great passer. It would go a long way if the one guy with championship experience, Fred VanVleet, continues to shoot it. He's 8 for 12 from 3 over his last 2. If he makes shots early, maybe he can settle this young group down.
They've played 2 games already here at the Chase Center. In games 3 and 4, the Warriors won both to go up 3 games to 1. Rockets responded in game 5. Who's going to respond in game 6? Coming up next here from San Francisco.
NBA Courtside on ESPN is presented by Pronamel Clinical Enamel Strength. 3 times stronger enamel with twice daily.
To force a Game 7, what will be the biggest obstacle to them doing so, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest obstacle is themselves in terms of their ability to score the ball. You got to score in a game like this. Considering how Golden State plays, particularly at home, the contributions like Perk mentioned earlier in the show, when you talk about Hield, when you talk about Bajemski, you know what Steph Curry's going to bring you. You know what to expect from a Jimmy Butler. What are you going to do to counter that? All you can see that you can depend on is VanVleet. Sengun could give you something, but that's usually earlier than later. Jalen Green's got to step up and help.
I think in these type of games, on the road, season's over if you lose, what kind of mental fortitude does this Rockets team have? I think I was impressed what they did in Game 5, how they showed up. Can they do the same type of thing, not blow out the Warriors, but can they bring that confidence that they belong in a game like this to get it back to Houston?
How important is it, Perk, to punch early so that you don't get the Chase Center crowd sort of behind a Golden State Warriors team when you're young, when you're lacking maybe a little bit of a playoff experience on the road?
It's very important, and you just want to keep the game close. But again, they have an identity defensively, right? That's not going anywhere. But if I'm the Rockets, tonight I want to see a heavy dose of Alperen Sengun, baby Jokic, a heavy dose of him on the low block, pick and roll action, whether that's him making passes or whatever. He's averaging, 21 and 10.5 rebounds, almost 6 assists, so he's doing it all. That's what I would do. I would impose him because nobody really could stop him when he gets going.
He leads the Rockets in total points, rebounds, assists, and steals in this series. He's going to have one of those nights from Alperen Sengun. All right, it's time to get you back to Stephen A's favorite city. We're going back to San Francisco now.
Yes, finally. Yeah. I didn't know that.
All right, Malika, thank you, and welcome back as this series has shifted back to San Francisco after the Rockets kept their season alive with an impressive Game 5 win. And it's going to be a packed Chase Center. They've battled now for 5 games, a series with the usual physical play and some added healthy competitive disdain. 15 technicals, 1 ejection, multiple contentious incidents. Expect more of that to come. Game 6 coming up next.
ESPN Bet Sportsbook has you covered all playoffs long. Keep up with big-time matchups, get daily profit boosts, and tell exclusive picks from Stephen A. Smith. Right now, you can get $100 in bonus bets.
Good playoff basketball, two competitive groups. Nobody wants to lose. I don't think anybody is trying to be friends with anybody on either team.
Closeout games are extremely difficult. They're not going to quit.
Down the middle lane, and a jam with the right hand, and he's fouled. It is all Houston. Golden State taking it on the chin.
We got young guns that's not backing down from anybody.
Suddenly, the pressure on Golden State.
At this point in our careers, we've seen it all, had all the experiences.
You could look back on them part of the journey, but that's all well and great to talk about. You have to go do something about it.
Holding on to the top, and even if I let go, still won't cheer out. Geometrically, that should not have happened. This is crazy.
You don't back down from anybody.
There we go, the final weekend of the NBA's first round. Rockets and the Warriors. The NBA playoffs are presented by Google. The first round presented by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Back in the Bay Area, will it be the final game of what has been a very compelling first round series between these Warriors and Rockets. Golden State leading 3-2. Tonight's starting lineups brought to you by Modelo Especial. And for the young Rockets, same starting 5 throughout. A nice mix of some young talent and veterans. For the Golden State Warriors, already their 4th different starting lineup of these playoffs, as Buddy Hield remains in the starting lineup and Gary Payton put into the starting lineup to go with the 3 veterans. And Steph Curry obviously looks very tight right there. Always loose and ready to go. He's going to get to do what he does best and what he loves to do. NBA playoff basketball. Fred VanVleet and the Rockets were sensational in that Game 5 to keep their season alive. And the crowd certainly wanting a celebration. Meanwhile, the Rockets, they love that sound of silence. That's what they want to hear here tonight.
Oh, they're going to want to get started early. The more you kind of look at this series and you understand the Golden State Warriors, who they are, who their best players are, to a good start. You do not want to be going uphill against this team at home in a closeout.
Games 3 and 4 both went to the Golden State Warriors. And a Game 7 would be on Sunday in Houston, if necessary. Rockets, a good road team all season long. They were 23-17 in the regular season, but as we all know, this is a different sport, the NBA playoffs. Draymond Green on Şengün. Shot clock already down to 6. Entry pass. Curry tried to steal it. A reach in and a foul. It'll be a side out for the Rockets as Steph Curry picks up his first.
So interesting you go to Gary Payton, who absorbs the Fred VanVleet assignment immediately. As we talked about in the open, Fred has made 8 of his last 12 threes the last couple games. Hello, Mr. Payton.
Yeah, oh, that's the guy that you want to come to kind of change it up. But what did they do? They went straight at Steph Curry in that situation because he had a bigger offensive player on him.
Şengün can't get the first one to fall. Payton a rebound. Payton, of course, has become such a fan favorite with his nonstop energy and smile as VanVleet pressures up on him. Curry, first shot of the night, off the mark. Thompson a rebound. Thompson playing his best game in that Game 5 victory in Houston. Buddy Hield is guarding Jalen Green. Draymond Green trying to help. Şengün with the throwdown.
Jalen Green, to me, is the X factor. I mean, he is capable of going north of 30. We know what they count on from Şengün. But if Jalen Green starts to make the 3 and go to his off-the-bounce game, it's a different game for Houston.
Jimmy Butler comes up short. Of course, the Warriors starting 5 didn't play a lot of minutes in Game 5. Steve Kerr shut them down early. And all the reserves made a game of it late and really was never in doubt right from the opening tip in that dominant victory for the Rockets. Draymond Green sets the screen. Curry right back to Green, kicks it out. Butler, the fake. Draymond Green settles, fires, and hits the 3.
Draymond has made a living off of hitting some of those big shots, those dare shots. If you're going to leave me open, I'm going to make you pay. But I stand by. He will always get those shots because that's one less shot for Steph.
Dillon Brooks misses. Draymond Green 6 for 20 in this series from 3-point range. Crowd usually cheers a little extra when he knocks one down. Has never been a strong suit as Jimmy Butler has Jalen Green on him. Draymond Green tries another. Rolls out.
There is nobody in the zip code, Richard.
No, they're looking for that shot attempt. Typically from benches, you hear he's with us when he starts missing those.
Jalen Green gets in the paint, comes up short. Dillon Brooks, the offensive rebound, kept alive by Şengün. VanVleet open in the corner. That's good. VanVleet has been absolutely scorching the last couple of games.
It's quiet in here.
You know what? It was so loud during the introductions and the start that they've kind of settled in as Buddy Hield tries to answer.
They're tired, Doris. Do you know how hard it is to get here at 6:17 on a weekday, on a Friday? Do you know how hard that is in San Francisco?
Travel call on Thompson.
Again, this space, this is what they want. They know Draymond's a creator, and sometimes if Draymond misses 1 or 2, he'll go dribble handoff. But there, he has the space here. Same thing. They are going to dare him to make those shots. And he has the ability to do it, but it's not what you want to live with.
What was that like for you when they left you that wide open?
Well, that was my first and second year in the league, and then I worked extremely hard on it and it stopped happening.
And a foul. Draymond Green looking at James Capers. And it's going to be an offensive foul. So Draymond Green didn't see it was off the ball.
Well, Draymond's point was he's holding me. But that's the kind of physicality we've become accustomed to start this playoffs. To me, that's extra.
And officials are going to look to see if that's extra.
And there is some holding going there, but you don't get to do that if you're Draymond. I'm sorry. That is not how you get someone's hand up.
So a possible flagrant act, certainly a chance of that. In a game here where you have a chance to win and move ahead, that's just not a good team play at all.
Mike, you can attest to this, okay? Over the last 3 to 4 weeks, what have I said about Draymond Green? That it feels sometimes like he's walking that edge again, which we've seen historically. That, to me, is a case in point of what I'm talking about.
And especially in such an important game. Listen, nobody will deny this guy is one of the smartest defenders in NBA history. His competitive fire has been a big part of the 4 championships, but he crosses the line over and over, and it hurts him and it hurts the team. And to get started with a possible flagrant foul here in such an important game.
Well, think about the game where he gets a technical foul early, whether you agreed with it or not, and then later in the game they give him a flagrant instead of a technical.
The contact by Green with the windup, impact, and follow-through meets the criteria for a flagrant foul. Penalty 1. We will have 2 free throws by Green. Houston will get the ball out of bounds, sideline, with 24 on the shot clock.
So Jimmy Capers, the crew chief, and Mitchell Urban, J.B. DeRosa right away, kind of sending a signal that this is not going to happen all game long, or at least they're going to try to not let it happen.
Well, and that's the thing. Draymond, in my opinion, has been the most important defender of this generation. He has allowed this team to play a certain way with Steph, with Clay, with KD. He's been so important. And I'm with Steph. I'm with Draymond. Draymond, if they're grabbing your jersey, you can get it off. But you also can't swing and hit someone in their head in those moments.
So how many guys get this kind of leash in the league to get a flagrant 1 and continue the discussion?
And in his face yelling at him. Again, the officials in this case, and we've seen it not just in this game but throughout, they're going to give players a little extra rope in a playoff game because they don't want to have an effect, but it just gets tired. It just gets really tired as Jalen Green hits the free throw.
What we're watching is a person's greatest strength and greatest weakness. He walks this line, but you've just gotten a flagrant 1. And I would stand by this, Mike. Over the history of Draymond's career, it feels like there's been a double standard.
Curry guarding Van Vliet. Şengün gets it inside. Couple of fakes. Bank shot is good. Alperen Şengün off to a nice start. Couple of buckets. And a 6-point early lead for the Rockets.
And he's got a mix. He's too important, Richard, as you said now. Nothing else can happen in this game to put your team in a deficit. He knows it. He's talented. He's too important.
Jimmy Butler guarded by Brooks. That's another fun matchup. Butler goes inside. Lefty layup, banks it home.
And that's what Jimmy does. Jimmy alleviates that stress. This team before Jimmy and after Jimmy is so different because before you didn't have another energy person. You didn't have another person that caused gravity.
Şengün left open. Leans in and throws it down. Draymond Green wanted an offensive foul, but clearly the officials thought that was more of a flop. The crowd very ornery already, as is Green. Butler gets inside. Payton able to track it down. Butler against Thompson. Thompson, the brilliant young defensive player. Draymond Green to Payton. His corner 3. And Thompson the rebound.
So one thing you got to think about if you're the Warriors, Gary Payton and Draymond Green, you're spacing a little bit different. 2 shooters that they're content to let shoot.
Curry the steal, but threw it behind Payton. And the second turnover for Golden State.
Now watch this. We saw this matchup at the end of the game. Draymond getting the big stop when they needed it. But also, you see Draymond right there. I think you live with that. You let them play early. I think that probably was an offensive foul. but you still have established that, hey, this is how we're going to let you guys play.
Brooks lets it fly. Curry lets the pass fly. Butler inside, lays it up and in. He also tried to draw a foul on that. Golden State back within 4. An eventful first 5 minutes. Jalen Green guarded by Draymond Green. Steps back, corner 3. Butler tips it, and the ball goes out of bounds, but last touch by the Rockets. And we'll have our first timeout.
For the Golden State Warriors, Mike, an ideal world so they don't have to play against one of the better defenses in the league. Playoff misses, playoff turnovers, get easy ones.
Brought to you by Nissan. First 5 games of this series, there's been so much physical play, a lot of stuff. The mini skirmishes after the whistle. As we said earlier, 15 technical fouls. Now 2 flagrant fouls on Draymond Green. And you got 2 of the most combative players in Draymond Green and Dillon Brooks, who like to get these things going, that gets them going, but it's not basketball.
For me, when I look at this, there was obviously the series in 2016. When Draymond got suspended in that series, it wasn't because of a singular incident in that series. It was because all of the accumulations and the technicals and the flagrants leading up. If this team believes they have a chance to win a championship, Draymond has to get in these things under control so he can play later as Steph knocks down the little floater.
So Curry gets on the board. And Houston's lead cut to 2. Again, Payton getting the start, guarding Van Vliet, trying to quiet him down a little bit after the last couple of games. Now on the switch, Curry guarding him. Van Vliet finds some room, fires away, shot won't go. Draymond Green tips it, but right to Thompson and Şengün. Thompson so active on the boards.
Boy, he is so bouncy. That second jump as quick as the first. I'm surprised Draymond didn't grab that. Looked like he went to tip it.
Podziemski's come in. Curry fires away, knocks down the 3. Well, Curry in game 5, just 13 points, 4 of 12. Didn't play a lot of minutes. Again, with Steve Kerr taking his starters out early in the blowout. Thompson spinning, tough fall-away shot. Green, touch pass Curry, ahead to Podziemski. Alley-oop to Payton. And an offensive foul call on Şengün. He said Podziemski, or feels Podziemski flop, but it's going to go the other way.
We talk about defense to offense. Great defense there by the Golden State Warriors. But if you're the Houston Rockets, it can't be 1-2 pass and a dunk. We already saw Jimmy, and then here. That one, he gave him a step. He gave him a step. So, you know, again, Podziemski, he's so crafty, especially for a young player. You don't see players with that much kind of extra to their game at such a young age. He knows all the little tricks.
Moses Moody, Quentin Post both come in. Tari Eason comes in for the Rockets, as does Steven Adams. Moody drives, stops. Nice crossover layup, won't go. Rebound deflected. Out of bounds, last touch by the Rockets.
Looks like the Rockets may have gone a little zone. If you see Steven Adams at the free throw line, they might be in that 2-1-2. And this has been something of a discussion with the Warriors, being better executing against what they're doing defensively.
Both teams have used a decent amount of zone through the first 5 games. Thompson gets up into Curry. Pass deflected. Boy, Thompson and Adams, that's a heck of a double team. Podziemski tracing Van Vliet. Adams goes inside. Ball is kind of coming out of his hand. Has been up with a shot and still got it to go.
I'd be pretty confident Steven Adams not going to lose the basketball, Mike.
Butler sees an opening, goes inside, more aggressive, looking for a shot early. He draws the foul. He'll go to the free throw line.
So let's watch Houston working defensively. You can see the jump out by Steven Adams goes off the foot of Moses Moody, and that little trap of Stephen Curry not only gets it out of his hands, now you can play off a miss, get yourself down the floor, and Steven Adams, a couple of easy points.
Well, Jimmy Butler, 26-9. That's the Warriors' record in the games he's played in since the trade. And the key thing has been the clutch games. As the Warriors were about a 500 team before the trade, but they're 13-4 in clutch games since Butler's come alive.
The thing that I like about Jimmy Butler is really the free throws. What he does in the aggressiveness. He will get free throws. He will get the team in the bonus. Now for Steph, that freedom of movement becomes even more important because Steph is running around. If you foul him, if you do something, those are free throws. And then you add Jimmy Butler if you start touching him. So it's the combination that allows for a more balanced attack.
Easton tied up. Brooks drives, barrels into Podziemski, and an offensive foul called on Brooks. Podziemski draws his second charge.
This guy, one of the best in the league. And you're right, Richard, there's a maturity to what he does. But let's be honest, like this is how he's going to fit on the roster. It's all the little things, making the right reads, stepping in to take a charge, one extra pass, an offensive rebounder from the corner, like all the little stuff.
Podziemski gets inside, kicks it out in the corner, post, little fake, puts it on the floor. Jimmy Butler lines up that three-pointer, in and out. Shooting numbers early, 46% for Golden State, 43% for the Rockets. Podziemski fights over an Adams screen, not an easy thing to do. Van Vliet gets inside and draws a foul. So the veteran Van Vliet will go to the free throw line as Podziemski picks up his first.
Doris, I actually like the way the Rockets have come out because you don't want for this Golden State Warriors to come out, jump on you early. The crowd is going crazy. You got it. There wasn't even a first storm, right? And I think sometimes when you have the situation earlier in the game, you get the technicals or flagrants, that's when it gets the kind of crowd to lower their energy.
Time for tonight's playoff schedule brought to you by Meta AI. TNT Saturday, Game 7 from Denver, Clippers and Nuggets. Then TNT Sunday, if necessary. And if the Rockets win, they'll host Game 7, 8:30 p.m. start. Van Vliet knocking down the free throws. He now is 15 for 15 from the line here in the series. Moody walks right up into a three and nails it.
So, last game, right? He's been struggling. And it looks like it's nothing burger time for Moses Moody. But you know what he found in Game 5? His shot. Now he walks right in the first time he touches it. There are no wasted minutes in the NBA.
Oh, no, and Steve Kerr is laughing. He's like, okay, I guess you're feeling it, young fella.
Oh, Van Vliet feeling it as well. And he gets his second three-pointer. Rockets back up by 1. Adams playing off Moody. Looking for an opening, fires it inside to Butler. Moody drives high off the glass, can't get it. Butler tried to keep it alive, but the Rockets come the other way. Van Vliet fires back of the rim, gets his own rebound. Terrific hustle from Van Vliet. Jabari Smith poked away. Podziemski and Butler in the area. That's 5 turnovers already for the Rockets. Butler inside the post and the finish.
When they've played off misses or turnovers and gotten to their pace game, Golden State looks terrific.
And Podziemski's been a big spark off the bench defensively. Eason has some room. Cans the three. Tari Eason is 3 for 7 from downtown. A whistle and a foul. Van Vliet will pick up his first. We'll take a timeout. 2-point lead for the Rockets here in Game 6. Who's ruling the court, brought to you by Burger King. The top story in the NBA today is Greg Popovich, one of the greatest coaches in the history of professional sports, has decided to step down as head coach of the San Antonio Spurs. He'll now become team president. Of course, Popovich suffered a stroke earlier this year. The Spurs continue to say his progress is terrific, but he will step down as the head coach after one of the most magnificent careers, not just championships, but wins. What he meant to the coaching profession, what he meant to the game of basketball, obviously what he meant to the Spurs organization and to the NBA. The tributes are pouring in from everywhere.
And they should. Greg Popovich was so impressive with everything that he did. Obviously, Ime was there. Steve Kerr. Steve's last game ever was against me and my New Jersey Nets against Greg Popovich and him and the Spurs. And so, you know, the thing I love most about the tributes is that it's less about basketball, more about who he was as a human being and how he was a father figure to individuals for over 30 years.
Both Kerr and Udoka talking about that. He's one of the most important people in both of their lives, not just in their basketball lives, but in their personal lives. As Şengün falling away, Curry with the rebound. How about this stat? Since Greg Popovich was the head coach in 1996 when he was named, as Curry can't hit, there have been 303 coaching changes in the NBA. Podziemski trying to draw another off-ball charge on Şengün. Jalen Green 0 for 3 to start. Sees the double team. Excellent trap. Adams to Eason. Şengün, a rare three-pointer here in this series. Adams grabs the offensive board. Inside to Eason. Feeds it to Şengün to get hit in the face. That's going to be Curry's second foul.
We're going to watch, but right now what's happening is Houston is playing their 3 big lineup. And what does that mean? Well, look at the opportunities you're going to get as you see the foul on Stephen Curry. But Steven Adams gets a weak side rebound that creates the extra possession that gets to this action of the foul. And Jabari Smith on the floor. They are enormous up front.
Now, I know Jalen Green is a talented young player. His future is bright. But even here early on, you want him to see settled. He talked about how he has to play better. So you look at how is he playing? How is he moving? What's he seeing? As you can see, almost everything just feels rushed and nothing feels settled here in this first quarter.
Şengün got the shot clock winding down. Not going to get it off in time. First it was Podziemski with excellent defense. And then Draymond Green forcing that turnover.
I think Green has to get off the ball quicker. They have blitzed him, and he's accustomed to it. Remember, he had huge games early this year, and teams decided we're going to blitz this young man and make him give up the basketball. You can see Draymond, a little bit of physicality, understanding where the shot clock is, then a desperation opportunity.
And with all some good defense, it's the Rockets, though, still with a 2-point lead. The rebounding is always key. Best offensive rebounding team in the NBA regular season and so far in the playoffs. Curry turns it over. That's the 4th turnover. Green down the other end, throws it down. And that's where the Rockets can be so dangerous. They're not one of the best shooting teams in the league, but their defense so often leads to offense.
Well, and that's it. You talk about Jalen Green. You want to get something going, play some elite defense, get a steal, and get an easy dunk. Hopefully that can kind of get him going if you're the Rockets.
Curry double, finds post. Podziemski off the bounce, goes along the baseline, deflected again. Good hands defensively. Rockets, one of the elite defensive teams in the NBA all season. Shot clock is off, final seconds. No fouls to give here for Golden State. Green blocked by Moody. Well, a lot of good defense both ends here in the first quarter. Game 6 here from San Francisco. Rockets trying to keep their season alive. They're up 4.
Brought to you by Scott's. Ime, facing elimination on the road is different than facing it at home. Just how do you think your guys have met the moment so far?
I think we've been okay. Not taking care of the ball the best. We got 5 turnovers, kind of ignited their fast break, but do the same things. We got us here last game. Not playing the crowd, make the simple play. We'll be all right.
Jalen, what's it going to take to get him going?
Well, at times, you know, he got to be the decoy. They're double teaming him. If he can find it in the pocket, find it to our numbers behind it, we'll be good there. But you have to take advantage of opportunities, be aggressive, and not second guess it.
All right, thank you, Ime.
Thanks.
Mike.
All right, Lisa. Udoka in his 2nd year as head coach here has done just a fabulous job. Not just turning it around with victories, but changing the culture. Aaron Holiday getting some early minutes. Adams fumbles it a bit, but hangs on. As we open up the second quarter. Aggressive defense from both teams here to start, as you would expect. Şengün, little baseline Butler comes out of the pack. Butler goes right at Holiday, draws the foul. Every time he falls down, though, you get concerned if you're the Warriors.
And he's just such a master at this. He sees the angle, he goes into the body. Now, again, if you're Houston, you're like, hey, he's initiating the contact. That's a 50-50 call. And I'm sure that's what Ime is having that conversation about. But Jimmy Butler has been doing that in his entire career.
Has that glute muscle contusion. That's the official word for the pain in the arse.
Is that an R?
He missed all of game 3. And then came back strong in game 4. And they went up 3-1 and didn't play a bunch of minutes in the blowout loss in game 5.
Yeah, but Mike, I think one of the things Steve Kerr talked about after game 5 is he got lost in the sauce. They wanted Jimmy to be involved in that first period, and he was.
Warriors very aggressive defensively out near half court. Şengün against Draymond Green. Little jump hook shot off the mark, ball tipped. And a new 14 on the shot clock. Holiday wastes no time, nails a three-pointer.
And that's where those offensive rebounds, Doris, get you second chance opportunities. You can look at their percentages and say this and that, but when you're getting second and third looks at it, those percentages start to increase.
And the Rockets 5 offensive rebounds already. They got caught napping there. Butler spots Draymond Green cutting to the bucket.
They were back in that 2-1-2 zone. And you see Jabari having a conversation with Ime up the floor. The two guys down there were Şengün and Jabari.
Van Vliet harassed by Podziemski. Şengün 4 for 9 to start. He's the leading scorer with 8 points already. Nice feed inside, and Adams with the flush.
See what happens, though, if you handle the trap. Fred's inviting that. He's like, okay, send two at me, because I'm going to get off it, and we're going to get a good shot. Dissimilar from what the young Jalen Green is doing, who he feels rushed.
Post misses the 3. Van Vliet, that's smacked by Moody.
But this was one of the big things that when I played with Kyrie Irving, he was such an elite scorer, and they had to tell Kyrie, when you got that double, you've done your job. And his growth of understanding that led to so much success. As you see, the ball movement leads to a bucket for someone else. Then they stop trapping you. When you beat them is when they stop trapping you. And so that's where it became impressive to watch Van Vliet handle that.
Well, I was just about to say great defense for Moody, but a whistle blows. And he's called for a foul, and Van Vliet goes to the free throw line. You can tell by the crowd reaction.
Well, they, like us, are excellent when they've got multiple looks, but there's enough contact on the left side, you think? You're shaking your head, Mike Green. You're disagreeing with me.
I think what has not been called a lot during these playoffs are the bumps, the holds, and the clutches of the ball handler. I think a lot of the shot attempts, yeah, there's some contact often, but I think that's where the majority of the fouls are coming. So Van Vliet knocks down a couple of free throws. This is the largest lead of the first half. Van Vliet off to another good start. Post lines up his three-pointer, able to nail it.
So you're attacking the baseline of the 2-1-2 zone. And a little bit slow, so they beat you on the short corner with Draymond, and then they beat you with that jumper with Post.
Moody again, pressure. Help from Post. Van Vliet gets away from the pressure. Jabari Smith off the bounce. Pull up, two-point jumper's good.
And I like that from Jabari Smith Jr. When you look at it, he kept going. He could have got the layup. Let me get to my spot. Let me elevate. I don't need to get any better. This is good enough, and then good knocking it down.
Draymond Green finding Butler. Butler spins back up top. Butler surveying the situation. Somebody's got to put it up. Shot clock down to 3. Moody on the drive goes right at Adams, and Adams knocks it back. Green tries to throw it up. 24-second violation. Talk about a brick wall.
Mates, don't come at me, because I'm going to go straight up vertical, and you're going to have no shot. That is just brilliant defense. Boy, Steven Adams has been a big-time factor in this series.
He also had some great comments after Game 5 with all the shenanigans. Actually, it was after Game 4 with all the shenanigans that went on and the extracurricular pushing and shoving and the technicals as they turn it over. Adams said, keep it basketball, mate. Don't make the game lame. Here's the toughest guy out there. As Moody knocks it down, he's not interested in that stuff. He just wants to play basketball.
Well, there's basketball tough guys, and then there's real tough guys. There's a big difference. There's a lot of people that talk in between the lines, but then they see you in other areas, and it's all handshakes.
Holiday's floater won't go. Draymond Green grabs the rebound. Butler, the hesitation. Draymond Green drives inside, lost the handle, out of bounds, and that's 7 turnovers now for Golden State as Eason and Thompson come back in.
As the great Greg Popovich once said about NBA fights, they're namby-pamby stuff. They're not real.
They're not real. They are not. And very rarely do you actually see one that's worth remembering.
Well, back in the day, there were quite a few.
There were quite a few. There's
some great fights back in the day.
Most of them are in standard definition, not HD.
Right, we don't see those anymore. Van Fleet inside, nice pass, well defended. Moody, but Adams comes up and follows it in. Moody made a great defensive play, but maybe the best offensive rebounder in the NBA gets another. And the Rockets up by 6.
The big fella missed a ton of time with injuries, back on the floor, having a huge impact here early in this game. Oh, Steph Curry doing Steph Curry things. Look, he knows that they are not going to leave him. So his teammates have an opportunity to play 4-on-4, and that means there's a wide open court. But even here, just a little bit of separation. Look at this, 3 to the ball. That's what they have to do, Steph making the right play. But this is where Steph gets in a little trouble. He tries to get off of it quick, gets the turnover. Same thing here. He's got to make sure that he's clean with and crisp with his passes, because that is one of the few ways that the Houston Rockets can handle their team.
See the 5 points, 3 turnovers early on. Kevon Looney coming in for the first time out there with Moody, Payton, and Butler. Dillon Brooks returns for the Rockets. Jalen Green, Adams, Tari Eason, and Amen Thompson. Curry, quick release on a 3. Rolls off the rim. Kevon Looney tracks it down. Chance of Bloom. Another deflection and steal. Here comes Thompson, open floor. Payton goes in. Oh, they both go down hard. And Thompson shake it up. Payton went up to block it. They're going to look at it.
I think the only thing in question, Mike, is this guy airborne, and is it dangerous because he's airborne?
Yeah, but he went airborne. I was so impressed with the speed in which Gary Payton went up and got to the spot and went with 2. He put himself in danger as much as anything. This wasn't trying to go for a block. This was more of like, I'm going to try and go verticality. Again, a foul is a foul without a doubt. But, boy, this was scary for both players.
We have a personal foul on the play. Racine doesn't meet the criteria for a flagrant foul.
And you watch when Thompson goes down, he does get that left hand down, but then hits the back of his head. That's what you worry about, certainly. Obviously, going back and look like his hip or backside. Well, when you hit the back of your head, you always worry about concussion, because that's snapped.
Upon review, we have A to B movement by the defender and his body contact, but it does not meet the criteria for a flagrant foul, so we have 2 free throws on the play.
That's a terrible fall, but it was a basketball play.
100%. And can we give a shout out for how quickly we got in and out of that review? They looked at it quick and said, let's keep the game going, which I love. But yeah, that's a tough one. But Gary Payton II, look at how he landed. That is scary for both players. They are both putting their body at risk, trying to get the job done.
And Thompson appears to be okay. So Payton picks up the foul. Boy, between Amen Thompson and Ausar Thompson, their performances in these playoffs. Ausar Thompson's Pistons eliminated last night. Rockets trying to make sure that doesn't happen. These are 2 just elite defensive players in just their second year in the NBA. Well, you get the NBA app for nonstop playoff access with real-time scores and highlights, and go behind the scenes with new episodes of the original series Chasing History. Download the NBA app today. I love what somebody described Amen Thompson's defensive ability. He's a one-man double team.
I actually have never heard that before.
5 minutes gone by here in the second. Butler sees an opening, drives inside, goes at Adams. Layup won't go. A whistle and a foul. Adams does not like the call if it's on him.
These would be free throws number 5 and 6. And this is who Jimmy Butler is. Plays off 2 feet. He's exceptional. Little bit of a hiccup on the screening action, and he takes advantage. He reads your slowness. Great screen by Gary. And then he gets a window to the cup. As soon as he sees that angle, he is off.
And this is the thing about Jimmy. People are like, oh, he's always free throw. You have to put your body on the line consistently if you're consistently trying to shoot free throws. And you see Gary Payton II with a little bit of a hold. That's what Dylan Brooks went and complained to the official. But Jimmy Butler is downhill. He is looking downhill at all times.
10 points, 6 of 6 from the line, as you see. He dismisses it, but playoff Jimmy is real. Amen Thompson looking, searching, continues to dribble, kicks it back out. Eason, shot clock at 7. Eason, nice maneuver and lays it up and in. Tari Eason with a beautiful move. Rockets back up by 7. Jimmy Butler goes at Adams once again. Good help there from Brooks. Moody down a lane. Oh, tried to throw it down, but Adams met him at the rim. Eason in the front court. Takes it out in the corner. Jalen Green can't hit the 3. Green now 1 for 6 from the field. Here comes Butler. Moody tries a 3. That's good. Moses Moody with his 3rd field goal. He's got 8 points off the bench.
Big swing there. You get a very good electric shooter in Jalen Green. An open 3, he can't make it, and Moody, who's a little more experienced, he calmly walks into it.
Dylan Brooks. Brooks pulls up. Line drive won't go. Rebound tip right back up to Brooks, but a whistle. It's going to go against Golden State. I believe it's against Looney.
Yep. Oh, Moody off the one leg has all of the opportunity to have the dunk of the postseason on the big fella. But hey, you know what I was always taught? 3 is worth more than 2. So you take that one and keep it pushing.
It all worked out in the end.
It all worked out in the end.
Crowd doesn't like that last foul call. Looney picked up his first. You saw him talking. Now Steve Kerr or Mitchell Irvin. Extra delight in the missed free throw, not only for the Rockets, but Dylan Brooks, who of course is villain number 1.
People ask you, oh, what do you think? I love Dylan Brooks. And to me, I love Draymond Green. Those are players that you need for high-level teams. Now, do they have to keep things in check? Yes. But give me one of those dogs on my team at any point in time. They are so important. I had Kenyon Martin on my team when we went to 2 finals of the Nets.
Dylan the villain, the persona he embraces, and it overshadows a really talented two-way player.
Yeah, and that's why I take him on my team, because I see that talent.
Gary Payton back to Moody. Moody's been in attack mode, steps back, 3-pointer. And Thompson with a rebound. Coming up on 5 minutes remaining here in the first half. One of those defensive grinds again. Thompson drives inside, kicks it out. Green. Eason, plenty of time. Nails another one. Second 3-pointer. He's 3 for 3 from the field.
Amen Thompson is not a tremendous shooter. They're not going to guard him. But you know what he's found these last 2 games? His drive game. And he's creating, sometimes for himself, in that instance for others.
Curry sneaks inside, can't finish. Rebound batted. Şengün, quick outlet. Here comes Jalen Green. Jalen Green. Scoop shot won't go. Rebound Payton. Pass deflected. Brooks comes up with it, and Brooks lays it up and in. Another turnover for the Golden State Warriors.
I'm sorry, but Jalen Green has to take off right there. He's got to take off and finish. He can't avoid contact in that moment. You are 1 for 7. You get an opportunity, you finish that hoop, you go aggressive, make the officials have to make a call.
Curry had the ball knocked out, and it looked like it was going to be called Houston ball. Instead, a foul was called. And then Thompson is first.
I was a young player. You got to go up. You got to bring it back. You're avoiding contact. When you avoid contact, referees aren't going to get a call, aren't going to give you a call. You got to play through that.
You know, he referenced shaky legs in game one. He said the crowd looked big, the moment felt big, and he said, I was nervous. He's rushed right now. And this is part of what Ime's enduring with Jalen Green, going through it for the first time. You see that youth on the floor.
Green, Şengün, Eason. That shot blocked. Draymond Green got a piece of it. Butler the rebound. Did not see Draymond Green down the other end. Podziemski does, though. Green layup, missed it. Rebound, Podziemski. Tied up, triple team, and a held ball. Melo jumping up at the Warriors free throw line circle.
So he was open early in the possession. Podziemski finds him, and then once Podziemski gives it up, this guy always opportunistic to the offensive window, but the swarming Houston Rockets, that is who they are, Houston, right there.
They are a reflection of their coach, tough and physical. Eason wins the jump as we're under 4 minutes remaining, a 12-point lead. Golden State has 35 points. And there's less than 4 minutes to play. They've got 10 turnovers. A whistle and a foul as Thompson gets knocked down. It's going to be Steph Curry's third personal foul.
You see what I mean about Amen Thompson? Last couple games, this young man has figured out, you know what? My first step is pretty good. I can get by. And the one guy in front of him is Steph, and he is not quick enough to stop that young man.
No, and it's okay. It's okay to just go downhill. When you're a young player still learning how to shoot, you go downhill aggressive, and sometimes you just pray good things will happen. It's good to be young and athletic.
He has struggled at the free throw line. There you see Curry's numbers, the 3 fouls, obviously important. Thompson 62% from the line. These are his first NBA playoffs. And Ime Udoka's talking about that these young guys, they're learning what it's like to win a game in the playoffs. Thompson coming off his best game in game 5. Here's Curry, finds some room, three-pointer, knocks it down. Steph Curry, his second three-pointer. Warriors needed that after Houston had opened up the big lead. Van Fleet back in, makes the move, pulls up. Nice feed, Thompson blocked by Green. Draymond Green, the rejection. Curry comes the other way. Buddy Hield, catch, fire. And Şengün comes down with it. Şengün, who leads the Rockets in scoring, rebounds, assists, and steals through the first 5 games of this series in his first playoffs.
See them trying to go at Steph, but Draymond's hovering there so he can take it.
Şengün again, a rare 3. He's taken 2 of them. Curry against Brooks. Curry on the drive, trying to draw contact. He does. Nope, they're going to wave it off. There's a foul. Jason Goebel was waving it off. Are they going to count it? Yes, now they are. The initial signal was before. Instead, Curry's going to get a chance for a 3-point play.
Could never relax against Steph Curry. He just had a 3 go down. As soon as he feels that contact on his hip, he wisely is going to get into his shooting motion. They are ever aware of where he is, and sometimes it doesn't matter.
And look, you just lose focus in this game for 1 second. Great screen by Podziemski. Steph 3, that's automatic.
In the Indiana Fever taking on the Brazilian national team Sunday afternoon from Carver Hawkeye Arena on the campus of the University of Iowa. Game tips at 4 Eastern on ESPN with pregame coverage beginning with WNBA countdown at 3. 2:44 remaining here in the second. The Warriors now within 6. Curry's going to shoot that originally looked like they were going to call on the floor. And by the way, the official that originally called it was J.B. DeRosa, not Jason Goebel, who's not here today.
Did you get a text?
He did it. No, he did a game the other night that I did.
Oh, Mike, if you're trying to segue into your work last night, Mike. No. Doris. He's walked around this building with everyone applauding his work ethic. And you know what? Let us be the first ones to say, Mike, thank you for joining us today.
Stop talking. Curry completes the 3-point play. And The lead is 5. Thompson. Buddy Hield trying to put some pressure on. Brooks catches, fires, can't hit. Podziemski the rebound. Curry playing with 3 fouls. Gets inside, flips it up, and draws yet another foul. Van Vliet, his second.
2 areas that have saved Golden State in this half. Transition opportunities. I think they've got 15 there. And then free throws, Richard. I think this is now 13 and 14. Jimmy's got a bunch. Steph just wisely understanding who's behind him. Momentum going to carry Fred into him. Once he's on your hip, forget about it.
Well, it's 16 to 3 fast break points. That's what we have on our stat. And that's the older team in Golden State. They're doing a good job of keeping Houston out of transition, but it's not the same for Houston.
Well, Curry hearing chants of MVP, was talking about before the game what Jimmy Butler's meant to him. He said it's just given him and Draymond Green confidence. They can beat anybody now. And they're shown in the winning percentage of the Warriors. Our halftime presented by Hyundai. Well, it's been a strong first half for the Rockets despite Jalen Green, some struggles. The others have picked up the slack. We'll discuss all of the happenings here in Game 6. 8 straight points now. A good answer from the Warriors. It's back to 3.
Warriors in their own zone. Both of these teams last couple of games are going heavy zone.
Sengun, couple of fakes. Short arms it a bit. Green the rebound. Curry pushes the pace. Curry sets, fires. It's good. Steph Curry cooking now, and the game is tied. Van Vliet thought about it. Jalen Green. Buddy Hield pressuring him. Van Vliet in the corner. Dylan Brooks fake. Shot clock at 6. Ball poked away. Brooks gets it back. Has to fire. Comes up short. Fight for the rebound. Curry pokes it away from Thompson. Podziemski in and out. And Sengun corrals the rebound. Nearly stolen by Podziemski. Quite the answer here from the Warriors after the Rockets threw a punch.
Yeah, this zone has flummoxed Houston in this last couple minutes.
Nice feet inside. Van Vliet settles things down and gets an easy bucket for the Rockets.
It's not like they've had a couple good shots. That inside the free throw line jumper by Sengun, that's his sweet spot, Richard. He just missed it on the prior possession.
But you get it to your point guard with championship experience, he gets you an easy bucket.
Final minute. The pace has picked up a little bit. Butler, Buddy Hield, stripped and stolen. Ball picked up now by Brooks. Brooks ahead to Thompson, finds Sengun. Jalen Green tries, 3-pointer. It's good. Jalen Green from downtown, his first 3-pointer. He was 1 for 7 overall, and the Rockets back up by 5. Curry trying to draw a foul, launches his 3-pointer. And the air ball goes out of bounds.
Trying a quick 2 for 1. But you've got to be able to execute against the zone. Get to the spots. And this is the last little transition opportunity here. Just spot up, make a 3, get under your feet, and maybe that settles Jalen Green in here a bit, Richard.
Well, it's the confidence of that catch and shoot that I like. That's what I caught it. Yes, it's a transition. Let it go. I think where he's getting in trouble is because he's trying to handle and figure it out.
About a 3.5-second difference, shot clock and game clock. Podziemski guarding Jalen Green. 6 on a 24, slips, stumbles, almost lost it, gets it to Thompson. Thompson with 2 on the shot clock, jumpers, good. And then Thompson puts Houston up by 7, final seconds. Butler gets it off and draws the foul and 1. Jimmy Butler felt some contact and a chance for the 3-point play. Was it beyond the arc? It could be a 4-point play.
Let's see. We can't tell from this angle. I think it was a 2.
That was close. Either way, the bucket counts. Yep.
Yeah. When you have so much youth and inexperience on the court, when you can't have a mistake like that from one of your experienced players in Dylan Brooks.
And Brooks picks up his third foul. Butler misses the free throw, nearly tipped in by Moody. And the first half comes to an end. Steph Curry had 16 points, but he had 3 fouls and a bunch of turnovers. Meanwhile, the leading scorer, Fred VanVleet, for the Rockets. Curry bouncing back from the subpar performance in Game 5, the game's leading scorer with 16, and as mentioned, VanVleet doing a little bit of everything for the Rockets. 2 quarters complete here in Game 6. The Rockets a 5-point lead as they try to stay alive.
NBA First Round, presented by ESPN Bet Sportsbook, is brought to you by Grubhub. Get your fan fuel delivered with Grubhub. And Jurassic World Rebirth, in theaters July 2nd.
Duncan!
Welcome back. NBA playoffs presented by Google. First round presented by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. A lot of physical play in the first round. We had a flagrant early on. And the usual physical, defensive-oriented first half. These two teams have played through the first 5 games. A lot of knockdowns, a lot of hard fouls. And that leads to stats that aren't the most wonderful offensive stats. As you see the shooting, including Golden State, just 39% from the field and 11 turnovers. Rockets getting a lot of points in the paint. Our first half stats brought to you by ESPN Bet, the official sportsbook of ESPN. Well, before the game, one of the things Steve Kerr said was important was cutting down the turnovers. That wasn't the case for them in the first half.
No, that was not the case, and that was really, in my opinion, the difference in the game. You watch this, Steph Curry, they're showing a wall. They got 3 guys there. Now, if he can get off of that, the Warriors got the advantage. But this was the first bucket for Green. So you start to see the things start to steamroll here. They have great high hands, high discipline from this Houston Rockets team, and now they're off in transition. That's how they want to play, and the Warriors have to clean that up.
Meanwhile, for the Rockets.
Well, I like how they comported themselves. 3rd youngest team in the league. Obviously, some youth shows up. If this is a possession ball game late, obviously you would think the advantage goes to Golden State.
Now, this is their second elimination game as Jimmy Butler starts off with a 3-pointer and cuts it to 2. Richard, is an elimination game, say from the team that's facing elimination, like how much do you think of that during the course of the game, that this is it, we could be out?
I think leading into it, as you see VanVleet knock down that 3, leading into it, your intensity is different. In that moment, you're not playing to survive. You understand your approach, and then you just have that kind of mentality throughout the game.
Good look. 3-pointer won't go. Butler aggressive early on. How about at the very end, like in the final couple of minutes, and you know that if you don't make a couple of plays, your season's over. Does it come to mind then?
No, it's staying in the moment. The more you stay in the moment, the more you stay. You're not worried about what's going to happen in 15 minutes. You're worried about the next play, as you've seen Şengün make the bucket. The more you can stay present, the more you can stay in the moment, everything else just falls in line.
Şengün now in double figures, the second Rocket. Again, what's been a fairly low-scoring game. VanVleet guarding Draymond Green. Butler already a couple of buckets here to start the 3rd. Brooks guarding him. Butler jump shot, misses. VanVleet grabs the rebound. VanVleet a little bit of everything. 13 points, 4 boards, 4 assists. Shot blocked, but a foul. Buddy Hield call for the foul as we go to Lisa.
Yeah, Mike, coming out of the locker room, Steve Kerr talked about the turnovers that Richard mentioned. He said that's what they have to clean up in the second half. He did like their 19 transition points to the Rockets 6. He said that's why we feel good, that if we can take care of the ball and limit their points off of our turnovers, he said we feel like we can get out and run on them and get good shots.
All right, thank you, Lisa. VanVleet now with 14. VanVleet, one of the great stories in the NBA. He's barely 6 feet tall, undrafted, turned himself into an all-star and NBA champions, made over $200 million in contracts. He is just a great, tough competitor. Not afraid of a playoff pressure. Draymond Green misses, Buddy Hield the rebound. Jalen Green gets out on Hield. Pressuring all the way out at half court. Hield has to pick up his dribble. Shot clock at 4. Butler trying to make something out of it. Kicks it out. Payton just gets it off in time and hits the 3 as the shot clock expires.
But again, there's two guys they're not guarding from the three-point line. It allows Amen to just stay hugged up on Steph Curry. They're clean switching the other 2 threats. And you know, you're hiding Şengün on Gary Payton II. They're going to have those shots.
Van Vliet. Thompson, jump shot is good. Nice looking jumper from Thompson. He's got 8 points now. Lead back up to 6 for the Rockets. And a hole. That layup will not count.
And then when you watch the Houston Rockets offense, very simple. They're getting to the open spot. Thompson knocks down the little jumper, but I don't see that pressure. Golden State has an opportunity to close out this series. They know with the opportunity that they have in front of them. I have not seen the typical Golden State energy and intensity to start this game.
Brooks just picked up his 4th foul, so he'll sit down. Butler gets underneath there. Brooks coming off his best game of the series, but quiet here tonight. Shot clock winding down again. Butler gets inside, blocked by Adams. Steven Adams does it again. His 2nd rejection. Van Vliet pulls up, nails the 3. Fred Van Vliet now with 18 points and a lead up to 9.
Back to the zone they go.
Curry gets away, fires, connects.
I don't think people talk about his strength enough.
No, they don't.
Those shoulders are massively different than when he entered the league. So much stronger.
Thompson falls down and throws it out of bounds, but it was deflected. Rockets with 13 on the shot clock.
He has got to create separation. It's the exact thing teams are trying to prevent him. You have to with that shoulder. Great offensive players. Push that defender off, Richard.
Well, and his strength now is not only to keep him on balance, he has strength to make other people off balance, and that allows him to get the space for the 3 DB.
Quentin Post comes in. Buddy Hield will sit. Hield scoreless in 13 minutes. Steven Adams hasn't played big minutes, but he's had an enormous impact all season long for the Rockets. Shot clock at 4. Thompson looking for an opening, goes right at post. The runner too strong. Draymond Green. A shot clock violation. They called it after Green tipped it out. That's what he's arguing about. Thought the Warriors had a chance for a fast break.
Great defense by Stephen Curry that last possession. He refused to let Fred Van Vliet make a catch and make a play off the bounce.
Curry and Butler. Dangerous pass. Green has to go back to get it. The Rockets have really extended their perimeter defense all game. Butler goes inside, kicks it out to post. Shot clock at 4 again. Another time, the timer winding down, and Butler hits another shot and a foul. Şengün upset. He wants a challenge. Jimmy Butler's come out aggressive, looking to score here in this 3rd quarter. He's saying in the landing area, his foot got in there. It doesn't appear there was any contact up top.
No, it's definitely the landing area. I think this is the right call. It's the fraction, it's the gray area. And look, it's the fraction. If we can watch the replay again, you'll be able to see it was the foot that did landed, touched Şengün's foot, even if the 1 foot was up.
It's the consistent call all season long, regular season and playoffs. The landing area. Şengün foul, count it, and 1. Şengün comes right back with a chance for a 3-point play.
Well, this is where this young man wants to operate. He's playing the two-man game. Once he's below the free throw line, it's not about size or athleticism for this guy. It's about craft. It's about footwork. Sell that defender, get him off his feet, off balance. And this is, he's not a restricted area finisher necessarily. It's right between that area and the free throw line where he's most dangerous.
Ball goes out of bounds. Last touch by Adams. Sengun made his first All-Star team this year. Still only 22. Just imagine how good he's going to be in a couple of years. Each year just getting better and better. Draymond Green out to Butler. Shot clock at 5 again. Butler with the shot clock winding down. Finds post. Mishandles it. Curry has to hoist one up. Hits the rim. And batted out of bounds by Payton.
Steph's laughing now because he's like, it's so annoying. It's so funny. He's so good.
Green kicked out of bounds. Shot clock stays at 18. 5-point game, still early here in the third quarter. And Payton called for a hold. 2 on Payton.
One of the things Golden State wanted to do in this game was corral Fred VanVleet, understanding how hot he was from 3. Well, he's got 18. And Gary Payton started tonight to try to get this under control.
In my opinion, the Rockets are going to need 1 or 2 more guys to kind of step up. Right now, it's been Sengun and VanVleet. They need 1 more guy to show up.
And Green fouled by Post. What a pass that was from Thompson to the other corner. And more free throws coming up for the Rockets. They lead by 5 here in the third.
NBA First Round, presented by ESPN Bet Sportsbook, is brought to you by Google, proud sponsor of the NBA.
Playoffs presented by Google here in San Francisco. First round presented by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. 5-point lead. And Doris, the assist of the game brought to you by State Farm. It's VanVleet.
So the first 3 games, this poor young man could not make a shot from 3. Last 2 he came in, he had 12 for 18. He is not slowing down. The most experienced guy, the one with a championship in his hip, is aggressive, setting the tone. And you wonder how that vibe is getting to the rest of his teammates and settling them down. Look at the difference first 3 games versus the last 3 games. Incredible.
That's a player that looks like he's figuring it out, DB.
Yeah.
Remember when the Raptors won the 2019 NBA championship? In Game 6, 22 points. He had a lot of big games during that run. Certainly wasn't the star of that team, Kawhi Leonard. But he has got one of those guys that just, the pressure, he seems to play better. And with this team and so many young players playing in their first playoffs, his impact even so much more important.
No, it is so impressive. And if you need to go back a little bit further, that Toronto team won a G League championship with Pascal Siakam and VanVleet. They were the G League champions. And I say that because that developmental experience helped them in that moment to win a championship. Now here you are many years later, and he is helping to develop this young core guys.
Let's check in with Lisa.
Yeah, Mike, I was talking to Fred about that this morning, and he just said as the series has gone on, he has felt the need to be more assertive. He said, we played a lot of different styles this year with a young team because you never know what you're going to get. So with them loading up on Jalen Green in this series and Jalen trying to figure that out, he says that he has realized that he needs to be more aggressive, just trying to be a calming influence, steadying presence. So he has been looking to have more of an impact offensively.
All right, thank you, Lisa. Meanwhile, Podziemski gets his first bucket on the follow, back to a 5-point game. This young Rockets team showing some real poise on the road in a game that could end their season. Sengun can't get it. Adams tips it. Butler knocks it out of his hands. Curry nearly throws it away, but Butler was right there. Podziemski off the bounce. Curry, catch, fire, hits. Another 3 for Steph Curry. His 5th of the game, and it's a 2-point game.
guy is ridiculous, really.
Thompson goes inside. Nice adjustment from Amen Thompson. Double figures for Thompson again. Podziemski wide open for three. And Thompson grabs the rebound.
The way they're face guarding Steph that last possession almost looked like a box and one. Houston trying to mix their defensive looks.
Jalen Green runs to the corner. His three-pointer misses. Top of the backboard and hit the wire. So the Warriors will come the other way.
So Fred VanVleet's like, Steph, you are going to have some company with me every position. Now, nobody else, like, look at, they're not, now, Şengün's got his arms up. And it's funny because both Ime and Steve Kerr have said at times, it's like Houston isn't sure what defense they're in.
Just don't leave Steph. That's the defense.
That's it.
Curry Podziemski blocked by Green. Deflects it out of bounds. 11 on the shot clock. Jabari Smith, Tari Eason will both come in.
Well, and again, this is where for me, for Green, that extra hustle, that's what Ime wants. Hey, your shot's not falling. What else can you do in the basketball game so that I can continue to trust you? Those type of blocks, offensive rebounds, sitting down on the defensive end. We can focus on his offensive production because they need more and he wants better. But what else are you doing in the game of basketball that allowed you to stay on the floor? And he's got 4 rebounds, 3 assists.
Podziemski lobs it into post. Back to Podziemski. Off the bounce to spin move. Stops, hesitation, missed the layup. VanVleet the rebound. Looks to push. Fred VanVleet gets it inside. Shot blocked from behind. Dive on the ball. Moody. Smith into the hands of VanVleet. Terrific hustle from both teams. Smith steps back and hits the three-pointer. Checked his feet and Jabari Smith knocks it down. Lead right back up to 7 as Thompson deflects it out. He's having fun out there.
Well, you better make the shot.
Yes.
If you could have felt Richard's reaction beside me, the idea that perhaps we might want to get a good shot, maybe dribble this out, instead pull the trigger with 21 on that clock.
There's always the, I grew up playing basketball in the early 2000s. When I see some of those shots, you get it, your heart kind of skips a beat.
Crowd with chance of let's go Warriors. They're down by 7. Podziemski again left wide open. Again knocks down the 3. That's his first 3, just his second field goal, but it cuts it to 4. Adams sets the screen. He's one of the best at that as well. Plays catch with VanVleet. VanVleet down a lane, throws it up. Post may have gotten a piece of it. Adams comes up with another offensive rebound. Holding on. Eason kicks it out. VanVleet. Smith tries another 3. Hits another 3. Jabari Smith, another big shot. 8 points in 9 minutes off the bench for Smith. Butler, beautiful pass. And Moody, an easy finish. Ime Udoka furious with that mistake defensively. His team, though, still up by 5. Stars. Puck drop is shortly after 8 Eastern on ABC and ESPN+. Plus, couple of game 7s in Denver. Nuggets also playing a wild sports day. Meanwhile, here, a wild game 6. And the strongest guy on the floor playing well.
Steven Adams just, again, once he gets into that space, you see a lot of teams playing small. Well, that's an issue when you have a big guy like that in there, and then watch the swing. Jabari Smith Jr. with a big 3.
Adams playing in his 72nd playoff game as Smith just gets it off in time. It's just good to see him healthy again. If you remember back, bad right knee injury, January 2023. He went 21 months between games, came back this year, and again continues to make an impact. One of the best offensive rebounders, and they're doing the hack of Adams. They can do it for another minute 43. And he's going to go to the free throw line. In the series, he's 6 of 12. This is his 12th year now in the league. The Rockets his 4th team.
This was an effective strategy. There was a game earlier in this series where they hacked him. Ime had to pull him, and the Warriors immediately went on a run.
Well,
so if he can go 1 for 2, is that good enough, Richard?
It is, but it also, to me, while when I see the strategy, I also see a sign of weakness. From we're struggling right now, and this is where we're going to go. And we're going to give you an opportunity for free points because we're struggling in a certain level of intensity. So he makes them pay there, but the Warriors are basically saying, we'll give you an opportunity for 2 points.
Rockets back up by 7. Post to Moody. Curry, Butler, and Podziemski, the other 3 Warriors out there. Shot clock again winding down. Butler. Post off the bounce. Butler fakes the 3, has to put it up, and knocks it down. One-handed shot from Jimmy Butler. Continues to have a strong third quarter, 10 points of his 22.
Sometimes it feels like he wills it into the basket. I mean, he is not on balance. This was a possession going nowhere. He has to make a play off the balance. He's nowhere near on balance. How does he make that?
I don't know. And then here again, they're giving him another opportunity with to get 2 free points.
Again, the rule is you can foul off the ball each quarter up until 2 minutes remaining in the period. And it's just 2 free throws. Under 2 minutes, if you have a foul off the ball, it's away from the play foul. Anybody can shoot 1 free throw and you get possession. So this strategy can only go until there are 2 minutes left in each period. And Adams, how about that, stepping up and hitting 3 of 4 free throws, leads 6. Steph Curry's got 22 points. Rockets really trying to shut him down here in the third. Post, a dribble, can't get it to fall. Jabari Smith the rebound. Rockets playing a good, smart game, try and keep their season alive. Van Vliet gets inside, flips it up, and gets the bounce. 20 points for Fred Van Vliet. Podziemski, no hesitation, hits another 3. He's hit some buckets here in the third quarter. It's back to 5 again. And another foul on Adams. Perhaps the final possession of this period, they can use that strategy.
What I want you to look at is Steven Adams. So many bigs are great at this. Once they see their guard drive, watch this. He ducks in on Post. Now Post got nowhere to go. Post can't defend, and then Steven Adams is in a position for an offensive rebound if Van Vliet misses, and then obviously they go back to this. But the part that I love about it is that he blocks out, and then he starts the offensive rebounding advantage in that part early.
Meanwhile, you saw Post when he fouled him. After he committed the foul, he patted Steven Adams to say, it's not my choice. I'm being told to do this.
That's probably a good idea, Post.
And that's his free throw percentage regular season.
He's been through worse. I think he's got 15 brothers and sisters.
The tip-in from Şengün. He's actually one of 18 kids.
Oh, 18.
From New Zealand.
I stand corrected.
Don't shortchange the Adams. Don't shortchange him.
Coming up on 2 minutes remaining. Adams helping out on Curry. Curry steps back, launches a 3-pointer. That shot won't go. Fight for the rebound. Post. Podziemski right back to Post. Good closeout there from Smith. Curry goes back door, gets inside, scoops it up. Can't get it to fall. Van Vliet the other way. Under 2 minutes remaining. They can't do the hack of Adams anymore this period. Jabari Smith, another corner 3. That won't go. And the ball tipped right at Podziemski. You can just feel how anxious the fans are here at the Chase Center. Podziemski to Moody. Moody lines it up and hits the 3. Third 3-pointer for Moody, and it's back to 4.
The strategy is anybody but Steph Curry. And so right now the others are making some shots if you're the Warriors.
Van Vliet on the drive. Wraps it around Eason. Eason triple team. Gets it out to Van Vliet. Shot clock at 6. Van Vliet, Şengün fakes, drives, and a whistle before. It's going to be a foul on Post with 2.1 remaining. And they're in the penalty, so Şengün will shoot as Post picks up his 5th.
So Fred VanVleet's going to navigate this late clock situation, going to make a nice soft bounce pass. I'm surprised he didn't go right up with that. Challenge was there, but he eventually gets fouled. Here's the problem for the Rockets, and it's cost him in this series. They're 16 for 23 free throws. Some of it's Steven Adams, I get it. But young teams, all these free throws matter.
And DB, look, when you get into a spot, who do you trust in a crunch time, clutch time moment? Obviously, all of that energy goes towards the Warriors. So in my opinion, the Houston Rockets, they've got to build a 10, 12-point lead to be able to offset what is going to come from the Warriors at some point.
The Rockets were the worst free throw shooting team during the regular season and the playoffs. Game 1, they missed 9. Game 3, they missed 10. Game 4, they missed 12. All losses. So far tonight, they've missed 7. But still have a 6-point lead. Final minute and a third. Something's up with the clock. So Mitchell Irvin blew the whistle.
The one thing he just picked up, Ime Udoka is telling his guys to pick up. He's telling them to pick up, to get up. So he wants this pressure at all points in time. That's what he wants from them.
Amen Thompson guarding Steph Curry. Eason on Moody. Eason, another terrific defender. Dangerous pass, but Butler gets it. Moody with 6 on the 24. Draymond Green backdoor to Curry, gets inside. Layup is good. Fumbled the ball a bit, but still able to get to the rim.
It's the second time, though, that Steven Adams is guarding Stephen Curry in space. And second time he got him on the dribble drive. Like, that's a tough ask.
Thompson, jump shot, short. Green, quick handoff to Curry. Curry drives on Thompson, stops, whips it out to Moody. Moody three-pointer, rushed it, wouldn't go. Adams couldn't quite hold on. And the Warriors get another possession with 9.3 left here in the third. Steve Kerr calling out the play. VanVleet's going to come in. Little defense. And Şengün. Watch Steph Curry after this shot. Hit that right hand, the thumb. He was looking at it afterwards. Curry has the ball. Eason crowds him. Final seconds, third quarter. Curry on the drive, pulls back, leans in, draws the foul. Almost put it in with his left hand. Instead, he'll get 3 free throws with 1.8 remaining. Ime Udoka looking behind the bench to see if he should challenge.
I mean, his ability to keep you off balance, just the slightest up fake, he walks right into him, and then the ridiculous use of the left hand. Without any understanding the level of conditioning required to do the things Stephen Curry does on a nightly basis.
An interesting thing, they had a foul to give on that possession. Instead, Curry gets the 3 free throws, now 25 points.
That's that dance where it's like, you have an elite defensive team, so you want them to play, and then if they have the foul to give, but then you get into that spot against a crafty player like Steph, and all of that gets negated.
Ime Udoka furious with that foul. He checked behind his bench. They said no, he fouled. He looked at Eason and said, yes, you did.
Yeah.
Warriors 12 of 13 from the free throw line. And Curry, a rare miss on the third one, 2-point game. And the third quarter comes to an end. The Rockets a 2-point lead. Will they force a game 7 in Houston? Will the Warriors wrap it up tonight? Fourth quarter coming up from San Francisco.
And Bet Sportsbook. Steve, just a 2-point game, but what gave you problems offensively in that third quarter?
I'm sorry?
What gave you problems offensively in that third quarter?
I didn't mind the quarter. We won the quarter. We're in a pretty good spot going into the fourth. They're running a lot of zone, but we're getting some good shots against it.
I heard you tell your guys earlier in the game, we've been here many times, we're fine. In what ways must that experience show up for you here in the fourth?
Just back to the basics, right? Take care of the ball, defend without fouling, and rebound.
All right, thank you. Mike?
All right, Lisa. Fred VanVleet knocks down a three and the foul to start the fourth. VanVleet does it again, and the lead back up to 5 with a free throw.
How on earth did they get up a 4-point play in 6 seconds? Not matched up. Someone's not communicating. Now look, there's veteran teams. Obviously there was some miscommunication, but the individual that has 20 points going into the fourth quarter, you might want to match up with him pretty early, DB.
24 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds for VanVleet. Curry searching, drives, kicks it out in the corner. Payton looks at the laces but throws up an air ball. Rebound goes to Curry. Terrific hustle, trying to drive, fires a three. Şengün with a rebound, his 9th. 6-point lead for the Rockets. VanVleet again gets inside, layup can't get it to go. Ball tipped out, but Jabari Smith right there to get it. VanVleet clapping, calling for it. Three-pointer can't get it to fall. And Adams is fouled on the offensive glass by Draymond Green. That's his 2nd.
I tell you, you made note of this, and it is something interesting. Watch Adams, weak side glass. This is what you call the immovable force. You are just not going to move that guy. But Fred VanVleet, the rotation on a shot, it's like a knuckleball the way it comes off. And it doesn't matter, Mike, because it goes in, but it's interesting to watch the spin.
5 of 7 with the knuckleball tonight from 3. As Green off the bounce. Goes inside. A lot of contact, stays with the play and bangs it home. Jalen Green, that's just his 3rd field goal. And Steve Kerr has to call a timeout less than a minute into the fourth. The lead is up to 8.
We talked about the intensity. Golden State not coming out with the right intensity. Jalen Green trying to find his way, getting the easy bucket. Warriors got some work to do.
Absolutely, Scott. They've been one of the terrific stories all season long. A chance to force a Game 7. Now, Richard, obviously there's so much time. It's not even a minute into the fourth quarter. What's the key for the Warriors to turn it around here?
I've watched this Warriors team. I was on the start of this journey for the Warriors organization. Their intensity has not been the intensity they need. Not in the playoffs, not in a closeout game at home. The potential is a Game 7 on the road. You do not want that.
Zone defense again from the Rockets. Jimmy Butler finds the seam and draws the foul. Smith picks up his 1st.
So Rockets are playing a ton of zone, and you've got to find the little areas to make an opportunistic cut. Who better in these windows than Jimmy Butler?
A chance to cut it to 6 again since the Warriors acquired Butler. In clutch games, again, any game 5 minutes or less within 5 points. They're 13-4. He has made so much of a difference down the stretch of these games.
Mike, before he arrived, Stephen Curry said after they had lost yet another one of the possession games, it will be the defining factor of our season. We've got to figure it out.
And they're 3-0 in this series in those clutch games. He hits 2 free throws there, back to 6. Adams to Jalen Green. Moody chasing him. VanVleet. Gary Payton. VanVleet finds Adams. Adams in time. Şengün back to VanVleet. Fires up a 3. Draymond Green tips it to Butler. Warriors push. Butler gets in the paint. finds Draymond Green, got it to go. Lead cut to 4 for Houston.
Simple basketball with Jimmy Butler. Get to the spot, stay on balance, play off 2 feet, find the next pass.
Jalen Green drives inside to Adams. Ball poked away, still loose. And Adams was out of bounds when he touched it, so it's Golden State ball.
Jalen Green still does not look comfortable. Again, not the right decision. Again, when you see Steph playing right there, that's a tough pass to Steven Adams. Maybe the pass out to Jabari Smith. That's the thing for young players. Not only playing the game, but learning the game and seeing it.
Curry got a hand on that. That's the 9th turnover. By the way, Steph Curry has not sat in this second half. Draymond Green, still so much time remaining. Butler calling for it against Jalen Green. Butler looks up at the shot clock, makes his move, drives inside, running layup, swatted out of bounds by Adams. His 3rd block of the game. 6 to shoot now for Golden State.
Again, Jalen Green does a great job defensively. Does a great job not fouling, getting Jimmy Butler kind of off his path, and then just depending on Steven Adams in that back.
Podziemski inbounds. Curry gets it. Curry fires, high arcing 3. And Şengün grabs the rebound.
Houston playing triple big. Dylan Brooks has not come back in since his 4th personal foul. Jabari's hit a couple shots.
And a foul is going to go against Steph Curry. That's 4 on Curry. You're saying he pushed the defender after Podziemski got knocked down. Rockets will inbound.
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, 2 hands guiding them. It's not a lot, but.
Şengün telling Smith to go through, posting up Curry. Butler guarding Şengün, backing in, turns. Wild shot, he gets it to go. Highly contested, and Alperen Şengün now with 18 points.
Draymond barking at James Capers saying he's hooking us.
Curry a 3-pointer. Rebound Şengün, he's got 11 of those as well.
If you are the Houston Rockets, if you're a Houston Rockets fan, you want a 10 to 12 point lead in the final 3 to 4 minutes. If you have a 6 to 8 point lead in the last 5, the Warriors feel very comfortable there.
Jabari Smith lost a handle. Payton throws it ahead to Butler, sidestep layup. Won't go, but a foul as Green bumped him. And more free throws for Butler, who's already taken 10.
Let's watch Şengün work. He is under duress of the clock. This is the value of Jimmy. It's not just offensively. Guarding up, they make it a tough shot. Thought that could have been an and one easily. But this has been the story of the playoffs. Level of physicality pronounced.
Free throws critical right now for Golden State. They're 14 of 16. Butler 9 of 10. Only Butler and Curry have shot free throws for the Warriors. Upcoming playoff schedule, TNT Saturday, Game 7 from Denver, Clippers and the Nuggets. And perhaps a game on TNT Sunday at 8:30 Eastern. And if the Rockets can hold on and win, it'll be Game 7 of this series. See Dylan Brooks, he's been in foul trouble, currently on the bench. Şengün sits down, Thompson back in. Quinton Post is going to check back in for the Warriors. Butler now 25 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds. Again, you can feel the anxiety here in this building. Butler misses a free throw. 5-point game, still 8.5 remaining.
There's a little anxiety and a little disappointment. A little disappointment.
Amen Thompson drives in, sneaks it in with a left hand. Gorgeous move from Amen Thompson. Podziemski directing traffic. Green now denying Steph Curry. Butler again the drive, back to Curry, fakes, couple of dribbles, gets into the paint, back to Butler, corner 3. Adams tips it right to Jalen Green. Van Vliet throws it ahead to Thompson. Thompson sidestep and is fouled by Podziemski. Heads up play from Van Vliet to throw it down the floor. And more free throws from the Rockets.
Good job by the Rockets. Look, they clean up the glass. They not only have size, but they've got athleticism. And when they get out in that transition, what I like about that is Podziemski is a charge guy. Podziemski is a charge guy. Thompson knows, let me be smart, let me be controlled, let me go up strong versus just trying to go through them.
Well, watch, I've been talking about it all game, Richard. This guy now off the bounce, he just knows I am fast enough. Finish with my left. His drive game these last couple and now this third game in a row has been really strong.
He had 25 points and 5 steals in game 5. He's got 14 points here in game 6. The lead is 9. Curry to Draymond Green. Stolen by Adams. 13 turnover for Golden State. Thompson goes and taken out of his hands by Butler, and a jump ball. Thompson and Butler hanging on. They're eventually going to have to release it so they can throw the ball up.
A little two-step. This is a mental thing. I'm not letting go first. Look at this. I love the strength of Jimmy Butler. He gets his hand on the ball. He brings Thompson down. Thompson's jumping. Jimmy has the ball and doesn't allow Thompson to jump. That is just such strength. And also the timing to get his hand right there without fouling and forcing the jump ball. It's impressive by Jimmy Butler.
He'll quick jump this and win it, watch.
It's a young boy, though. that's a young athlete, though.
He is a freak athlete, turning into quite the special player in just his second year. Şengün against Draymond Green, backing in. Şengün wants this shot, can't finish. Rebound deflected, taken by Podziemski. Here comes Curry. Curry finds Butler. Curry launches another three. Can't get it to fall. Thompson the rebound. Curry now 5 of 13 from three-point range. Şengün down low. Can't get it to fall. Butler battling for the rebound, throws it right to Şengün. Back to Van Vliet, puts up a three. It's good. Fred Van Vliet knocks it down. Largest lead of the game. And the Warriors call timeout. Van Vliet's not hot. He's scalding right now.
This was all over the place. Offensive rebound, steals, throw aheads. Şengün misses it. When you're playing that double big lineup, so you try and kick it out. Şengün, and then it ends up in the veteran's hands for the big shot.
Players in basketball that could care less if he ever takes a shot. Now, he's a great offensive rebounder, so point blank, he's going to take that opportunity. But his presence at the rim, his willingness to guard on the perimeter, to come over and help situations, to deny, the smarts, the giving nature of him. To me, his impact has permeated this entire game, Richard.
Oh, 100%. Again, you look at Memphis when they lost him in those years that he wasn't able to play. They needed him. They replaced him with Zach Edey. They love to have a presence, and the Houston Rockets are benefiting from his presence tonight.
Draymond Green back out to Curry. Şengün, good close. There's a double team. Get it out of his hands. Green now cross court to Moody. Moody off the bounce, pulls up, little two-pointer. That won't go. Fight for the rebound. Adams battling, still loose. Şengün picks it up.
So, Richard, we're marching down toward 5 minutes, another minute, and you keep preaching 10-point lead for the Rockets. Why?
The weight of a 10, 12-point lead when you're under 5, that is so much different than 6 and 8. If you're up 6 or 8, that's just a 2-3 possession game. When you get to the 10 to 12, it's just the gap is so much bigger, and I don't think people understand the weight difference.
And a called timeout. Şengün was about to have a held ball. The Warriors have only led in this game for 3 minutes. A spin move almost turned into a turnover, but he hung on. We're midway through the 4th. Rockets up a dozen. against the Brazilian national team Sunday afternoon from Carver Hawkeye Arena at the University of Iowa. Game tips off at 4 Eastern on ESPN. 6:02 remaining, 3.9 to shoot for the Rockets. Right now they're up a dozen, trying to force a game 7. Şengün catches, drives inside, shot no good. Rebound Butler. Thompson picks up Butler. Buddy Hield back in. Steve Kerr needing some offense right now. Warriors 1 for 9 from the field here in the fourth. Dangerous pass and a turnover. Şengün then turns it over right back. Buddy Hield, the corner, can't get the 3 to fall. Podziemski battles, but Adams comes away with another board. Van Vliet on the drive, foul by Curry. No shot attempt, that won't count. Golden State in the penalty, so 2 free throws for Van Vliet. Van Vliet, game 4, 25 points. Game 5, 26 points. Game 6, 27 points.
Did they go to Haka Adams here at any point in the next couple of minutes?
Wait. I thought Steph, it looked like Steph was the one fouling Van Vliet, but they're saying they were going off the ball on Adams. We're watching the ball and we see Van Vliet.
That's what it seemed to be the call. Let's see. And there's Butler fouling Adams. We thought the call was on Curry. The whistle came there, but that's what they're saying. So the foul's not on Curry. It's on Butler. Adams misses the free throw. So there's your answer to your Hack-a-Shaq. Listen for the whistle.
No way.
The whistle seemed to come on the foul on Curry. Adams misses both. Offensive rebound, Şengün, and he's fouled. Got hit in the face after grabbing a huge offensive rebound, a little shaken up.
That's the second offensive rebound off a Steven Adams miss. If you're going to strategize, you are expecting a miss. That means you need to get this rebound. That is, if you're going to do that, that means we can secure the second rebound. This is the second time they've given up an offensive rebound.
Well, Buddy Hield with his second foul. Steve Kerr obviously concerned. His team down 12, still 5.5 remaining, but the Rockets showing terrific poise and their usual toughness. Şengün now at 19 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists. Again, free throws have been a problem for the Rockets this year. Şengün knocks down a pair right there. 9 straight points by Houston. Now the new largest lead is 14. Steph Curry a 3. Back of the rim won't go. Hield had it knocked away by Van Vliet. Van Vliet in a hurry, throws it up. Broken up, and a foul. Followed by Thompson won't count. As Buddy Hield believe with another personal foul.
Again, we talk about this Houston Rockets defense. Just hands. You've seen so many guys getting hands on balls. It's impressive. You see the tip right there. And then it's so good. They got so much athleticism, they almost had a double lob. Jalen Green and then Thompson.
Good Lord. Look at how high off his feet he is.
Yeah.
You're right. There's 2 options there.
Yeah, and then Thompson comes in and then finishes that.
1 of 2 from the line. 104-89, a 15-point lead. This crowd is stunned right now. Butler drives down a lane, kicks it out. Podziemski, little fake, back to Butler. Podziemski finds Draymond Green. Butler, right side, 3-pointer, back of the rim. Van Vliet another rebound. Van Vliet's got 8 rebounds to go with 8 assists and 27 points.
Felt like a lot of guys passing up shots there for Golden State.
Van Vliet will hold it. Golden State 1 for 12 from the field here in the fourth quarter.
This is, wow.
Unbelievable.
This is shocking.
Rockets dominating here in the fourth. They've opened up a 17-point lead.
If you are a Rockets fan, you should be very proud of your team's effort. The way they've approached it, the professionalism, the intensity, but there's still some game left.
Butler can't hit a three. Golden State has scored 5 points here in this fourth quarter.
And Mike, they're giving up shots to take a three. They're looking for threes constantly, like score the ball.
Offensive foul called. Curry trying to get on track. It's been a struggle for him. 5 for 15 from 3. Whips a pass into Draymond Green. Green with the left hand missed it. Podziemski goes high for the rebound. Back out Butler. Tries another corner three. The misses continue. Nothing falling right now for Golden State. Buddy Hield to Butler. Goes up in the air. Fouled by Şengün. 2 more free throws for Jimmy Butler. 106-89.
It's been amazing to watch some of the body language of Golden State. You're talking about the crowd being stunned. There's times the way this team is reacting here tonight. Disappointment with giving up those couple offensive rebounds. Head down. Houston outworking them at times.
Well, they're going to right now check to see if that was a flagrant on Şengün. You heard the crowd react with the
Previous
replay.
players under review for possible flagrant act.
There's a really good chance.
That is, in my opinion, I don't think it was necessarily aggressive. Like, he didn't throw him to the ground, but once you get any contact up there, it's automatic.
Wind up, contact, and follow through. Usually if there's 2 of those 3, it's going to be a flagrant, and that appears to be the case there.
And above the neck and head, obviously.
So that would mean 2 free throws and the ball. Right now, the Warriors could use anything to give them extra chance at some more points, as they've been just
Following review. The defender, we have a wind-up, impact, and follow-through, which meets the criteria for a flagrant act. We have a flagrant foul, penalty 1, 2 free throws for Golden State, and then we will have side out of bounds with 24 on the shot clock.
Well, Jimmy Capers is not only one of the great officials in our game, but he's our hero because he has the quickest replays we've ever seen.
Yeah, that's the right call. You know, and again, and what I like about it is that it wasn't necessarily chippy. It's not, guys aren't, it doesn't turn to extra. He came down, tried to get the ball. It's a foul. Let's shoot the free throws and keep the game pushing.
So Şengün picks up his 3rd. So Butler with the 2 free throws, then they'll get possession. But this is, you talk about an impressive performance from a young team facing elimination for the 2nd straight game. And they have dominated on the road here in the 4th quarter.
Their composure has been really impressive. You see what the rest of the team has done compared to their top 2 guys.
Now, I'm still paranoid because I've seen this Warriors team so many times, and any team with Steph Curry. It's a 15-point game. There's 4 minutes to go. Let's see if this Warriors team has a little bit of juice, because you know they're going to get open shots.
Hield to Curry. Curry floats it up. Can't get it to fall. Şengün with his 14th rebound to go with 20 points.
Boy, Ime Udoka pulled the double big card early in the second half. Adams and Şengün have played a ton of minutes. This is something they have found in this series, right? It's the one thing the Warriors have lacked in that size. And give Ime credit. He pulled the trigger quick on it, and he's ridden it here in the second half.
He's done such a fabulous job since coming to the Rockets. But the stunning stat is the Golden State Warriors have taken 16 shots here in the 4th quarter and have only hit 1 field goal.
All of this as Dillon Brooks sat with the 4 and never came back in.
They have 3 times as many turnovers as field goals made here in the 4th. 107-91. Curry trying to get on track. That one goes down. Just the 2nd bucket made here in the 4th for Golden State. 13-point game, 3.5 to play. No margin for error for Golden State.
Richard's got PTSD over here, Mike. Curry hit that shot.
And they do the hack up Adams once again. They can do it for another minute 24.
Until I see zeros across that board, if they've got Steph Curry on their team, they have a chance. Now, will they run out of time? Most likely. What I'm just accessing is that Houston Rockets, you got to keep playing.
Yeah.
You got to keep playing. You got to keep your intensity. I'm not saying that the Warriors are going to win or lose this game. I'm saying that this game is not over, and you have to finish. The job is not done if you're Houston.
Just think about the shot he just made. He had the contest from behind and one coming from the front, and he still makes the shot.
Meanwhile, Adams makes the free throw. Comes up short on the second. Podziemski grabs it. Podziemski fakes, goes inside, back out Draymond Green. Draymond Green behind the back to Hield. Hield wide open three-pointer. That won't go. Fight for the rebound. Draymond Green fouled. Shot misses. But 2 free throws for Draymond Green with 3:07 remaining. Draymond Green tonight, 7.7 assists. This will be his first free throw attempt. Let's see if Ime Udoka keeps Adams in the game. Doesn't look like he's going to take him out. Adams has just been, again, his numbers will not come close to showing the impact he's had here tonight. And Green misses the free throw. And Steph Curry is going to sit down. Curry 9 of 23, 6 of 16, 29 points. But like all of his teammates, unable to get it going here in the fourth. Green goes 1 for 2. And another foul on Adams. Adams seems completely unfazed.
He does.
Whether he hits the free throws or misses, because he knows right now his team's in control.
It looks like Steph is coming back in the game, so they're not completely checking out yet.
No, there's no way they were going to. It just, he hadn't sat at all in the second half. Maybe just needed a quick breather.
Do you think that helped?
I don't know. You're the pro.
How about Steven Adams knocking these down? Season high minutes and just delivering from the free throw line.
Look, if you're Steven Adams, you'll take 6 for 13. You take it because the goal is that if he can have a 3 for 10 night, then it becomes effective. But they've also gotten 2 offensive rebounds off of his missed free throws. So even just the strategy has generated more points than Golden State would have liked.
And Adams all the way back talking to Amen Thompson, giving him some defensive advice and a turnover. And this one fading away for the Golden State Warriors. You can hear the groans from the crowd. Some of them now starting to head for the exits. This has been just a spectacular performance from the Rockets. Dominance here in the fourth quarter on the road. Şengün calling, taking time off the clock. Butler chasing him. Şengün spins. The 1-footer can't get it to go. Curry looks to push. Curry inside. Podziemski lays it up and banks it home with 2.5 remaining. 13-point game.
Got a Draymond Green foul on Steven Adams the other end.
Remember, the fourth quarter started. The Rockets were up by 2. They extended it to as much as 17.
But doesn't it feel weird as if like it feels like the Houston Rockets, even on that possession before, are just playing keep away. They're not attacking, they're looking to just run time off of this clock.
Adams knocks down another. Again, we talk so much about the young talent, but Steven Adams and Fred VanVleet, the 2 veterans, 2 tough, gritty players with a lot of playoff experience.
I will always say this, if you have a young team, you do a disservice to not add veterans. You look at the Jump, the Houston Rockets, the Detroit Pistons, add veterans to your roster, you get positive results.
Timeout called. Look at the story in the fourth quarter. Rockets on the verge of tying this series up and forcing a Game 7. Fred VanVleet brilliant once again, third straight game, and look at those three-point numbers. His leadership as well has been critical for these Rockets.
You need a veteran. You called Fred VanVleet. Picked him up a couple years ago from Toronto after winning a championship. They were in a rebuild. But you add a veteran point guard that knows how to play, that knows how to compete, who shows up in big moments, shows the young fellas what it takes to win a championship. That is the type of veteran leadership you are getting in that elite point guard.
And Steve Kerr has put in the subs. Remember, only 13 teams in NBA history have come back from 3-1 series deficits. The Rockets have done it twice. Back in '95, Western Conference semis, they beat Phoenix, wound up winning the title. 2015, Western Conference semis against the Clippers, down 3-1. They came back and won that series. And this current Rocket team hoping to become the 14th team. They still got a ways to go. Got to win a game 7 against an experienced team, but they absolutely dominated Golden State here in the fourth quarter. Spencer drives and finishes.
But Houston has found some things, Mike. You know, it feels like they're taking the actions away from Golden State. That double big has been problematic. The zone has helped. Like, there's a lot of good things happening for this group.
And I think sometimes when you think about the Warriors, you look at Steph, and obviously you got Jimmy Butler and Draymond, but you have to understand the players that were so big in their championship runs oftentimes were players 6 through 9. The 6th, the 7th, the 8th best player on their team, you had David West, you had Jordan Poole, you had some hyper-talented guys, and so you're going to need some more juice from their bench if you're going to continue. And they got Podziemski, Moody, they got talent, but they're going to need everyone to play at a high level. This is not the same Warriors team.
Well, the Rockets, one of the elite defensive teams in the league all season. The numbers for Golden State: 38% from the field, 31 from 3, and 16 turnovers. And they have made the Chase Center extremely quiet. Warrior fans hoping that this won't be the last time they'll see them this season, but they're going to have to win a tough game on the road in game 7. Spencer on a foul. Santos and Sengun. VanVleet, just marvelous. Sengun did a little bit of everything. The 20 points, also 14 boards. And Steven Adams, just such a physical force. Thompson played an excellent game, and this is what they've done all season long. It's been a team that has so many contributors.
They take on the personality of their head coach, in my opinion. Ime Udoka, tough-minded, defensive-oriented. He's walking that line with Jalen Green. That graphic just showed you Jalen was 3 for 11. But he was doing enough other things that you talked about, Richard. He's got 5 boards, 3 assists. And at some point, you've got to continue to play Green so he knows what this feels like on the road, sending doubles his way. I mean, that takes some patience as a head coach.
It's amazing how people don't understand how long this process starts. There's so many players that used to come into the league at 20, 21 after 3-4 years of college. Sometimes it takes time. And so when I look at young players, I'm often thinking, I will judge you when you are 23. I will judge you when you are 24. So when I look at Sengun and when I look at Jalen Green, they are ahead of schedule.
So Udoka calls timeout with 1:14 remaining. There's going to be a second game 7. Denver and the Clippers tomorrow night. These two teams will play in Houston Sunday night for the right to go to the second round. Disappointing night for Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. Here in the fourth quarter, outscored 29-17. And this series tied at 3 games apiece. Both coaches now empty the benches. The Chase Center starting to empty out. And you can't use the word stunning when you talk about a Rocket win, because they've been winning all season long. They had the 4th best record in the NBA and finished 2nd at a tough competitive West. But the dominance is what's stunning here on the road against an experienced Golden State team.
I think the thing that's most stunning for me is that they took the intensity from the Warriors. What's stunning is the lack of intensity that was able to meet what the Rockets were doing from the Golden State Warriors. That, to me, it was the most shocking part about this performance. The Houston Rockets are well coached. You talk about culture builders. That is what Ime Udoka has been doing here in Houston.
Just some extra buckets in that old phrase, garbage time. As Shepard tips it over to Whitmore. So after down 3-1, losing both games here at the Chase Center in games 3 and 4, the Rockets have responded in such impressive fashion. The blowout win at home in game 5 and the dominant fourth quarter on the road in game 6. This has been a special season for these Houston Rockets. Remember 2 years ago, 22 wins last year. Udoka comes in, 41 wins. Jackson Davis throws it down with 12.1 seconds remaining. A final score not indicative of the dominance here in the second half. What will happen in game 7? It's anybody's guess the way this series has gone. Been a lot of surprises. But right now the Rockets feeling good and feeling confident as they're going to head home. And that'll do it. This opening round playoff series is tied at 3 games apiece. The veterans were the stars, but they had plenty of help. So 2 game 7s in the West. Oklahoma City and Minnesota is going to have to wait a couple more days to find out who they'll play in the second round. Houston heads home with a chance to move on. And of course, the Clippers will be in Denver for game 7 of that series. A very disappointed crowd here at the Chase Center. They're cheering back in Houston. The Rockets win big. For our producer Tim Corrigan, director Mike Schwab, our outstanding ESPN crew, of course for Doris, Richard, and Lisa, this is Mike Breen saying good night from San Francisco. After the break, we'll get you to Sports Center with the great Scott Van Pelt. Good night, everyone.